Hey, everybody. Hopefully, everybody out there can see and hear us. And welcome to the show. Before we get started, I want to say that today is Veterans Day. And anybody out there that served, thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
We
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's not something that I did. And I always
Me either.
thought it was a scary prospect for me to jump in there. But so thanks for doing that, guys. Defending America and freedom and all that fun stuff. So today we're gonna be talking about spellcasting, and we have with us we've got Jason over there. I keep pointing the wrong direction. Jason over there. Below him is Decado, as usual. And today we've got Richard Bloodworth, as it says. It doesn't say GM Bloodworth today.
No, not today.
So, and we're going to be talking about magic systems and spell casting, and I'm sure we'll get off topic and end up talking about everything else. Who knows what, and I'm going to try and stay on topic, but I'm not in control of these guys, so or myself for that matter. So, thanks everybody for coming. So before we got into doing the systems, I know I kind of sent you guys an outline, and I'm sure that we'll jump around a lot between things. But I kind of wanted to hit a couple points that are kind of universal points that maybe aren't necessarily in the system, but things that we run at the table. And I mean, since we're talking about spellcasting, obviously the first thing you got to do is find the spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys normally handle it in games as far as acquiring new spells? I usually, like, people have like I do it where like you automatically get one when you level up, and then otherwise you have to do research, or sometimes you have to find a scroll and try and memorize it, or you have to find another spellcaster that knows it. Or you can just say spend 6 weeks in town and to learn a 6th level spell or something like that. What do you do at the table, Rich?
Oh, well, recently what I've been doing is that I let the player will choose at least one spell, that their choice. I've been giving them automatically. It depends on the system, but they can all read magic. Magic users can read magic. Illusionists can read magic automatically. Doesn't take up a slot. All right.
Really? Okay.
And then they'll have one spell that they can choose. Then their intelligence bonus will give them an additional spell. Like if they have a +3, then they can have up to an additional +3 first level spells that they have memorized automatically in their spell book, and that they can memorize those for the day as well. Now, if they have like a 17, then they'll also have a 2nd level spell when available, and an 18 would be a 3rd level spell. So I give them early on, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, depending on how high their intelligence is. Now, clerics, they don't have to have a spell book. They don't have to memorize. They will have a number of spells that they can that they can use, and they're favors of their deity, right?
Yeah.
So they have the full selection of all of their 1st level spells. Druids, the same thing. They're drawing upon nature, so I let them draw. So only magic users and illusionists have to memorize spells for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, in some systems, clerics don't even get spells at first level, so they got to prove themselves to their
Yeah.
god first.
And those systems
Inglorious
suck.
battle.
Yeah,
Yeah, those systems suck.
Well, that's the original like D&D, right?
Yeah, right, right.
OD&D
Awful.
was like that.
What do you do in your game, Decado? You're running Castles and Crusades, right? Do you run by the
Yeah.
book?
Probably not. Kind of like how Rich does it. They pick out like whatever, if they got a spell coming to them, they usually pick what they'll do. I mean, I drop them in the game here and there. They'll find scrolls or they'll find books and stuff like that. I would like to experiment at some point with more like what you were talking about, Roger, where it's like, all right, you want this? Well, you got to go find somebody
Yeah,
how to do that. Like, but I mean, we kind of just assume like they in their downtime they've been doing research and that's how they're getting this new spell. So that's kind of how we do it. I
sure.
do the same thing Rich does.
Mm.
Spellcasters, arcane casters, they know how to read magic. It's not a spell; it's actual ability that they learn. Because I never, even back when I used to play AD&D as a kid, I'm like, I
Yeah,
got like 2 spells, and I'm gonna waste one of them on read magic. Like it's that's one of the things I
Yeah.
like about Dragon Slayer is I think
Mhm.
Dragon Slayer they have it as an ability.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
right.
that's the way it
But
should be.
Yeah, and that's an interesting concept too. Like read magic being a spell. Like generally, if the group finds a scroll or something like that, I'll have either the wizard or the cleric or something make a check, just make an intelligence check or a wisdom check for depending on whether it's arcane or divine, whether they can identify it or not, and not necessarily have to cast read magic, to figure it out from there. Um, but
I used to do it as
Jason,
a cantrip.
uh,
That's what I used to do back in
yeah,
like
cantrip, yeah, and
AD&D.
then
It
you
was
could
a
just do
cantrip.
it. Well,
You do it.
cantrips are different in CNC, right? You only get to cast them once, right? They're not
No,
they're not
cantrips
like
are
a machine
different
gun,
in CNC
or are they?
because you can say you have 4. You could have 4 different ones and cast one of them 4 times. You don't have to
Oh,
memorize like
okay.
Right.
You could
I need to
spontaneously
know.
cast them or whatever, but
You
you
like
only
you
have
only got
four.
right, but you
You
don't have
can't.
to like memorize a set number like you would any of
Right.
their numbered spells, like first
That
level
that makes
spells. If you
sense.
want, you have to do it that way. But yeah, I just do it as an ability because I just always felt it should be an ability and not wasting a spell slot on it.
Yeah. Um, Jason, I know you haven't ran a game in a little while anyway. What are your thoughts on Jason's in my campaign for those of you guys that don't know, and we run CNC. We generally do I think I said what is a monetary value, 1,000 gold per level or something for a
I
spell.
think I'm pretty sure that's what Carl was charging Andrew's character.
Yeah. And then that's like what a character can learn. And I'd like to have it so that, oh yeah, you got to go find the scroll or whatever, because it's a fun thing. But I mean, I think that gets old. Like when a player really wants to cast fireball and, never finds a scroll of it or whatever. So, but I didn't know if you had any thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I also use it. It's kind of a control measure on the wizard. For me, every time a wizard levels, he gets a free spell.
Mhm.
For one spell one spell total from whatever level he can cast.
Yeah.
Other than that, if he wants to learn a new spell, he can go pay a tutor or something like that. If you find a scroll, then if you want to cast it, like in combat, cast it, fine. You can do that. If you want to put it in your spell book, I would make him do an intelligence check. If he fails the intelligence check, the scroll is destroyed. Tough luck, you didn't get it. If you find a spell book, for me, the spell book is like the complete instructions on how to cast the spell. So you would use so you would do an intelligence check, but I would give you a bonus, and if you fail it, it's not destroyed. It's just I'm not getting this. Try again next week or try again next level or something like that. That's how I handle new spells. I don't like. I'm not a big fan of wizards. I don't like using spell acquisition as a way to like dangle the carrot in front of the wizard. That's just needless to me.
Right. Yeah. So that's something like what's I should have tried that. A dino in the easy night. Spellcasting players need to rely on found scrolls, captured spellbooks, or finding a patron spellcaster or spellcaster willing to trade spells. Yeah, and that does it. But yeah, like in my game, we do that, but also the the wizard gets a free spell every level basically of their choice. So, because I assume that they're
I've
they're
had
actually
some
researching it.
nightmare. I've had a nightmare scenario where I was playing a wizard in someone's D&D basic game, and we spent I was like third level, and the last time we were in a town where I can get new spells was back at first level, and he would not let us go to any place where I could learn, or acquire new spells. There was no scrolls dropping, no anything. So I was third level, and I still did not have my first, second level spell, and I only had the 4 or so first level spells that I had in my traveling spell book. Because it was like my full spell book was sitting back in that city, and we were literally weeks away, from having traveled like a week and a half, 2 weeks away on foot, and just wouldn't let me get back. I was like, this is I was so tempted to just throw myself off a cliff and be like,
and I think
I'm gonna roll up a fighter, because now at least I have all of my abilities.
Right.
And that's something that I've heard players really complain about with like Vancian magic, and I'll wait if that's what we're going to go into next anyway. But yeah, that's the issue that I've come across, is that your magic user shouldn't be damn good with a sling. You know what I'm saying? It's like your magic user should be casting magic as often as
and
possible.
some of that, like Rich, I understand like the DM like hesitant to like just dole out spells, left and right. But I think if you're going to have a system where you have to learn you have to learn all the spells and everything and stuff, the GM has to make the spells available. And I know that I'm like terrible at doing that because I use the random treasure tables. And so they end up getting like scrolls of, of blasts, or like,
here's a scroll of protection versus lycanthropes. Oh, look, I've got 7 right here in this cloak. That's all we find.
Because that's what they roll on the chart, right? So like I know, and that's why I put the monetary thing in to be like, okay, look, you can learn the spell, and I kind of go with it from there,
My issue with that, excuse me, it's similar to what Rich was just talking about. In your campaign, town does not really exist. It's like the Western setting on the back lot at MGM. Hey, this looks like a Western town, but if you peek behind the building, it's just this flat board. And I don't mean that as a knock on you.
Sure. No, I get it.
The wizard, who is the wizard going to study from? There's nobody in town. He's the only wizard on the continent. And it was the same with my priest. Oh, we're gonna charge you 500 gold per level to train. Who's training me? I'm the only cleric around. So in situations like that, to me, it's really important that the wizard is able to, whether we find it in a tomb somewhere, or I don't know, he receives a by owl from Harry Potter or something. The wizard needs to be able to advance just like all the other classes do. The money thing, I kind of have mixed feelings on that. And like 5e or other systems, you can go into town. Oh, look, there's a +1 sword hanging on the wall, and it's for sale for 2,000 gold. Here's your 2,000 gold. I've got a +1 sword. So for me, it makes sense to have the wizard buy these spells. It just keeps the party's economy kind of on an even keel. Where there's, again, in your world, and I'm just using your world because that's the one that we're playing in. There are no magic items for sale. We find stuff. In fact, we've got a bunch of +1 crap now that we've got sitting in storage because we can't sell it to anybody. So, I can't go and buy a new magic set of plate mail, and the wizard can't go buy a new spell. We have to find them on the way. So it slows down the magical progression. But I think I was level 5 when I found that +5 spear. It was just a random roll. So now I've got the best weapon I'm ever going to have. So, and it's just, Andrew could easily find a delay blast fireball scroll and hang on to it until he can cast it.
Yeah, right. What do you, Chthonic Musings brings up a topic here early about whether magic should be in the blood, and he's talking about like the third edition sorcerers and stuff, or like I guess I'm gonna just say right off the bat that no, I don't think so, because I don't like having like
The chosen
races
one.
or anything that has things that can naturally do it. Like magic in all of my worlds has always been like granted or given or drawn from like like another powerful being. And it's just not something that you can just like, you know, just cast for, just because you can, no innate casting ability. My opinion. I don't know what you guys have, if you guys have any opposing thoughts on that.
It makes no difference to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think every, I mean, when you look at like 5e, of like the 27 or whatever subclasses, like
Yeah.
22 of them can cast spells. It's like if everyone's a spellcaster, then it kind of loses the mystique of what magic is supposed to be. I mean, I understand we're in a high fantasy.
Like some of the other classes, but
yeah,
I'm not. I guess I'm kind of like Jason. Doesn't really matter to me. There are some of the other classes, maybe not exactly how they're done. I don't like, but like the warlock. Like I like the concept of the warlock with like its patron and exacting like the patron isn't typically a charitable being, so it's like there's a reason he's giving you power. So it's like you might have to do something. Like I like the Hyperborea version of the warlock, which is actually a fighter subclass. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and
I
that
think that's the way
relationship
it
with the
should be.
patron is a big draw. I agree.
What if Wizards has midichlorians? Get out.
Midichlorians.
Get out.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Right. No. Yeah. No.
Yeah, what'll be an interesting thing, because I've looked, thought about that kind of thing as well, and it's like, if you think about the number of adventure level characters in the world, you know what I'm saying? It's like, imagine if you just had your players roll a D100 and you need to be, under a 5 in order to have a class leveled character. Otherwise you're just a 0 level human doing whatever you're intending on doing, but they should be infrequent, and and one of the ways that you kind of curtail that is by having a magic system that does have those trade-offs, like Jason was talking about too. Like, this is not something that you just go out and there's no cost associated with it. There's a lot of time associated with it. Especially if you're using time like AD&D First Edition had, where you might have to study for a week to learn a new first level spell.
Yeah.
Now you can alter that with like I usually do with like your, if you have an 18 intelligence, well, it only takes you 4 days to learn it instead of 7. You know what I'm saying? Like I keep on reutilizing that modifier to things that make sense. It's like magic users to me didn't need extra ability to speak languages. You know what I'm saying? It's like, give them more spells, for Christ's sakes. And then but other systems like I'm a big fan of blood magic, where if you're casting it, you're drawing your own hit points to cast it, unless you can snatch hit points from somebody else, like an energy drain almost. And that I kind of like that idea, because then there is a give back for being able to cast. It could actually kill you if you're casting a spell higher than your ability to cast it as well.
Yeah. Which is a cool thing, I think, a cool visual of like a wizard or whatever, like using his last, bit of energy in his body to like cast a spell.
Yeah.
Rand, yes, we are accepting questions from the chat, so long as they're good questions. No bad questions though. All right, don't ask the good ones.
Stan, DCC does that, Stan.
Yeah, DCC does that.
I knew I'd read it somewhere.
Crimson Dragon Slayer does it as well. It has blood magic. You lose hit points for casting spells.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Shellback agrees with you. Um, yeah, it's that's interesting, and I've dabbled with it a little bit in some things, that I've ran, and it's definitely an interesting concept, especially if a wizard wants to like push the spell or
Yeah.
something, or be able to try and get it back after it's been expelled for the day or something, that it costs hit points or blood. Um, how do you guys feel about spell components? Do you guys use them? Usually mine are pretty generic. I don't I tell the players they have to have, like a spell component pouch for anything
Mhm.
that's, a negligible thing. And it just has like an unlimited supply of, magic fairy dust or whatever you want to call it in there. Just something that says, so it's a physical
It's
thing that like it can be taken away or lost or whatever. Um, and then like anything that's worth more than like 10 gold or whatever, then they actually have to have the physical thing because, that you actually need it.
Yeah, doesn't like a resurrection spell require like a 1,000 gold piece diamond
No,
or
it
So
even
does not
higher than
require
that
a
or something like
1,000 gold
that?
piece
Yeah,
diamond. It requires 1,000 gold pieces of diamond dust,
yeah,
specifically diamond, which is
Yeah.
how the hell are you going to get that? You got to crush this diamond? It's a diamond.
Yeah.
They don't crush. Yeah. That's actually, Roger and I were discussing this the other day while we were driving around, and that is the example that I used. To me, spell components are absolutely critical. Otherwise, you're just giving. There are many
Yeah.
players out there who will take advantage. They'll casting permanency on everything because permanency doesn't cost me anything anymore.
right.
Everybody's got everything.
Yeah,
So, like Roger was saying, if it's sleep, it's a pocket full of sand. I could not give a crap if you've got a pocket full of sand. You pick some up and you throw it at the guy. Bat
yeah,
guano, okay. You picked up some bat poop from a dealer in town. Doesn't cost
Yeah.
anything. It's once you start getting monetary value or rare
yeah.
materials, I absolutely believe they should be tracked to a like an exacting standard. How many arrows does the ranger have? He's got 20. You keep track of every one you shoot. How
Yeah.
many spell components do you have? Every time you cast a spell, we're ticking this thing off until you go get a restock.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
I'm
That's
trying to
cool.
keep my responses shorter. I've been told that I
No,
need to.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's-
Rand is running his first campaign. Congratulations. Hopefully you love it. Greco-Roman mythology inspired,
I want to
actively
play in your campaign.
yeah. Struggling to create a magic system, would love suggestions. I mean, the first thing I think of is to go directly to like the various gods and assign them,
Go to the source.
Mhm.
specific powers or
Yep.
specific spells or whatever. And then if you have like clerics or wizards or even whatever that want to go and they want to be able to draw from some of these people, and maybe like a cleric will get more powerful spells, but a wizard, they can get certain spells or certain things from different ones, but they have to balance like how many they're dealing with at a time, especially if they're like opposed to
Right.
each other. And I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. I know,
Heck
Jason,
yeah,
you're
I do.
really into the Greco-Roman thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Some thoughts. Don't write the whole campaign for them.
No, and I will keep it short as I can. I'm going from memory. I believe the Greek goddess of magic is Hecate.
Yeah, I
That
think
would
so.
be my sole source for wizard type magic. You pray to her. You get basically a wizard in Greek is a priest. You're praying to Hecate or Hecate, and she gives you the magic. So I would treat it the exact same way. If you're doing Greek and Roman, I would probably not allow scrolls. Spell books would be some kind of funky. They had scrolls and paper, but I don't think I would allow that in the campaign. Um, Maybe some kind of ancient ritual that you would find to expand your spell magic. But priests, there's like a dozen gods that anybody can name from Greek and Roman times, but there's hundreds of gods in the Greek world. Everybody had a god,
Right.
so that's your priest. Be a priest, pick a god. But boy, I'm sorry, man. You hit on a topic that I love. Um, it is important to remember that the Greek gods were capricious, arrogant, mean spirited. Even the good gods, if you slight them, you're going to pay. Gorgon, the Medusa that we all know. Gorgon was a woman. She didn't even do anything. Her mom compared Gorgon's beauty to Athena, I think it was Aphrodite.
Hera.
Here, yes, excuse me,
No,
that's
it's
right.
Hera.
And so she said, "Oh, really?" And turned her into the monster that we all know. She didn't even do anything. She just paid the price for it. So your priests need to be really, really careful and pay attention to the rituals that go with that particular god. And I'm done for now, but I love your subject.
Rand, look if you can find the DCC Lankmar set. Look into the spellcasting and the stuff with the clerics in there. I don't remember exactly how it works, but there's like a favor mechanic with the gods. And like I think it's every time you cast a spell, it's like a D12 that you roll. And then like the higher the number, like the better your favor is with them. But if you roll lower, like and the die can drop or raise, so you can get it up to like a D20, or it could drop down to like a D6, and then your god's really mad at you and you have to like build it back up again. But that was kind of a neat system looking at that. And I don't remember exactly how it works, but it's interesting to
and you could boost favor
up and down
by doing sacrifices. The Greeks were always sacrificing something to the gods, and I don't mean human sacrifices, although many of them did. Sacrifice a lamb, sacrifice a bushel of grain. Things that are important to the common Greek person. So you gain favor that way, and if you don't do it, your favor starts to drop. Boy, I can go on all night about this, but I'm going to stop now.
Shellback, when you get a hold of a 1,000 gold piece diamond, you put it in a bowl and hit it with a hammer and see how long it takes you to put it to dust. That's where we'll we'll leave that.
I think the other thing you could do with like a magic set in like a historical ancient culture is that the magic should reflect what the people of the time believed magic was and believed how magic functioned. And when you look at other like systems like the Hyborian Age, right? So if you look at Robert E. Howard's depiction of magic, there weren't fireballs going on there. Everything was almost like summoning, weather control, controlling people's actions or whatever. But there wasn't that high magic of like I said, well, maybe you could cast lightning or, call lightning was something that was more of a druidic magic anyway, which they also have a lot of tie-in with as well. But yeah, I would lean towards trying to get an idea of what the people of those cultures in those ancient times believed magic was capable of. And what Jason was saying with like each of the deities, maybe they will transfer what those deities are known for, and that would be a spell that priest would have, right? So, if he was doing Mercury, like a deity of Mercury would be able to message, or something along those lines, move with haste or something along those lines, and really tie it into the domains of the deities more so than just being a generic spellcaster of whatever class you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a number of source books that you can do a quick Google search and you'll get tons of them. Bullfinch's Mythology is the premier book on most mythologies, mostly Greek and Roman. Legends and Lore, all those old books. Read up on the just like a brief read on Greek history and the people, and you will answer your own question. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So that's that's good. Let's see. Let us know how that turns out with running that Greek or Roman thing. Yeah, thank you for the suggestions.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, definitely do not overcomplicate it, especially if it's your first game, like running it. Don't overcomplicate it.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I will
You could do the
overcomplicate
same
it for you
thing
every
that
time.
that these guys are talking about, which is great, like to bring it in and like how it all works. But like when you get down to the bare bones of it, like if you're looking for a system on how it works, I think Shadow Dark has one of the easier magic systems to kind of wrap your noggin around.
Yeah, definitely. DCC is a little bit, out there,
They're
little more
similar.
complicated to run.
Yeah,
It's similar, yeah, but
it's a
it's
little
not just
more
an on
detailed.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, let us know. Come back and let us know, and we'll go from there. Yeah, yeah. Hecate is great for doing magic and stuff. Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
Awesome.
What now on that, what do you guys now I know I'm gonna get heat for my opinions on this, but arcane and divine spellcasters, I
I
mean, they're
already know
really
what
the
you're gonna
same,
say. Oh,
right?
shut
Yeah,
up.
I mean, they're the same, right? I mean, the only
No,
thing that's different between a wizard and a cleric is the thematic thing,
No,
right? I
it's
mean,
the
they
source.
is
The
the
source of their
actual
the
magic.
magic
source,
they use.
right? But it's but that's not rules rated. Is it related? It's just like a thematic thing, like like really like a wizard, like on paper, a wizard and a cleric, they're the same thing.
No,
They
they're
have
not.
spell slots.
Oh,
They have spell slots. They have spells in those slots,
well, they shouldn't.
and they
Yeah, I
cast
mean,
them.
bottom line, they shouldn't have the same kind of a system. So that's that's a flaw in the
You have to give them.
Vansian
You
magic
have to. You
Oh
have to
system.
boy.
give a little bit because it would be. I would rather play if you want to talk about like the mechanics of it. I don't want a game system where I have to learn two different magic systems within the same system. So like the reason they do that basically wizards and clerics function the same is so I don't have to learn two different systems within the same game, which is just a pain in the butt. So that yeah, theoretically, like Rich says, they probably should operate differently, but you have to give some allowances, like to
They
make
don't really
things
operate
playable.
differently. It's just the source of their magic is different.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's just a
and then
thematic thing. That's not on paper. It's like, yeah, you're saying, okay, the wizards get their magic from books, and the clerics get theirs, because their god wills them to have the spell or whatever. But I mean, that's just a flavor thing. That's not a mechanical real thing. Look,
Yeah,
Edgelord agrees with me.
it's
Edgelord
like
agrees with me.
yeah,
well, there's two people wrong on this string.
And
That's right.
yeah.
and what about the poor sorcerers? They shouldn't exist because innate magic shouldn't exist.
No, the sorcerers are drawing it from their source as well. Only magic
Yeah,
users and illusionists are the only ones that are harnessing arcane magic through study and practice and
right.
just their own knowledge, right?
But yeah,
Clerics, it's divine magic for that very reason. The cleric doesn't have magic. The cleric is granted magic. All right. And then that's the difference.
right.
And the sorcerer doesn't innately have magic. The sorcerer is giving something up for that magic, whether you want to say giving up part of their soul, they're risking their own health for it. If you're dealing with like blood magic or whatever,
Sure.
they're forming a pact with a demon or something in order to get that. But there's an exchange going on there, and not a very good exchange for the sorcerer in most cases, especially when it goes awry. But yeah, I think it's more than just thematic, though. I think it's there is a way to implement it, and still, like Takata was saying, you're not really changing the rules to have them functioning differently
Sure.
rules wise, other than clerics have never had to walk around with a spell book. They have to walk around with this holy symbol,
Right.
but they've never needed a spell book.
Right. But so mechanically they're the same though.
Well, technically they're the same because they have spell slots and they can only cast certain spells at
Right.
certain levels and whatnot.
Right.
So mechanically, that's the same.
And that's all I'm saying. So if mechanically they're the same, why do we need two classes?
Is there any systems where they can cast from any different types of spells?
It doesn't matter. You could just say, oh, you're drawing, you're drawing magic from a demon, or you're drawing magic from a god, or you're drawing it, from this ancient text, or you're drawing it from a ley line, or you're drawing it from the trees. Like, you don't need to have all these different classes for that. You could just say, hey, you can cast magic, and you have to pick like, a type, like a section of magic, right? Like, you could say, okay, you're going to cast demonic magic, or you're going to cast clerical
like
magic.
Dragon
My
Bane.
God is the god of, my God is a god of fire, so I get like a bunch of fire spells or whatever, right? Like, that's it. Or it's like, oh, that's a patron that I worship, so he grants me, fire magic or whatever. And that's just something that's written down on the character sheet of like, what's the source of my spells? So, I mean, if we just do that, then we don't need a wizard class and a cleric class and like all these different
I disagree completely. And Edgelord, he did not got him. I've been waiting my turn. I disagree completely.
There's at least 3 people that agree with me.
Wow. 3 people.
Go ahead. Tear me apart,
Okay.
Jason.
They are similar. The classes are completely different. I do not believe it is just thematic. Even if it were, let's say it is thematically different. That's necessary for the game of Dungeons and Dragons. Otherwise, we're all walking around playing first level fighters. For me, it's that simple. Because if you say, well, the wizard and the cleric, there's no difference other than thematics. Okay, so there's no difference between a fighter and a cleric other than thematics. There's no difference between a thief and a fighter other than thematics. I disagree completely. The magic of a wizard, they cannot wear armor because of and it's not just they can't move their hand freely, because wizards have to move also. The magical energy that allows their spells to manifest is interfered with with heavier armors. It's a completely different kind of magic. That's why clerics can wear armor, because the god is saying, I'm allowing this to happen. Somebody said they should have to roll a faith roll. I think that's a pretty good idea. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But if you're going to do that, then you should have some kind of thing for the wizard as well, because it's not easy being a priest if you play them correctly. The mage has to sit there and memorize his spells in the morning. It says in the books that the cleric is supposed to sit there and pray, that he is memorizing his spells through prayer. It'd be like a rabbi reading the Torah every morning. That's what he is doing. And if you play it correctly, that's what you're doing. So for me, it's not just thematic. Everything about the magic is different. It's a circular argument. We can go round and round about it. You and I have debated this to the hills.
No, I
That's
know
why
that.
I was waiting for my turn.
Oh, I know.
I don't really care what the source of the power is, whether it's a demon, whether it's a god, whether it's my intellect allowing me to unravel the mysteries of the universe. They are a different kind of magic. They require a different kind of focus. And for me, that they will always be different. So
yeah,
there you go.
For me, it's mechanically they still end up the same. I don't know. I mean, you know me. I don't think we need a thief class either, but that's a different episode.
And we've talked about that, and
yeah.
I won't segue. I'm really trying not to, but to that, we don't need a thief class. So the fighter's going to go pick the lock? The fighter doesn't have to pick the lock. That's not what he does.
For me, it's a different thing. It's not that we get rid of the thief completely. We just get rid of the thief and all the thieving abilities. Just every character gets a like a thief skill.
Because then we're all playing the same character.
Yeah.
No. Everybody just gets like one thief. Like I might make a fighter that's good at disarming traps. You might make a wizard that's good at climbing, or things like that.
To me, that leads to metagaming. What's your guy good at? Okay, what's your guy good at?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I know. I just see every class in D&D.
That's like GURPS.
Really low.
You might as well play.
Yes,
well,
it's GURPS. It's exactly. And I like GURPS, by the way. Roger does not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's funny as a matter of fact.
System then.
Roger doesn't like the
D&D,
generic universal role playing system, but he seems to want everything to be very generic.
No, but
you're a walking contradiction, Roger.
The thief skill thing is like everybody, like the group as a whole, is gonna like go raiding tombs and like all that stuff. So they all should have like some thief.
No, that's why you bring specialists.
Yeah,
yeah,
right, sure.
I agree with Jason there.
Without
And
that,
like,
without
Yeah.
that, you basically have 5e classes where everybody can do everything, and nobody gets their moment to shine. You know.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I
that
definitely
reminds
don't
me of
want everybody that can do
that
everything.
reminds me of how we broke Age of Conan in beta. All right, when my group of 5 players went into an epic dungeon with 5 barbarians, and we destroyed the boss in less than 2 minutes because the bosses were geared towards having its cooldown cycle for a mixed group of party members.
Mhm.
And once we start hitting them with the same 6 or 7 powers
Yeah.
in that same order, boom, 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 it had no way of protecting itself, with its cooldowns. And we destroyed it in like 2 seconds. And we're like, hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
There's a big problem here. We just solved how we can beat every single boss in this game. And they changed it where you can only go in with a certain party makeup. All right, where you could not have duplicates of any class. It's the same thing. You would break the game, even though it's a role-playing game. You would break the system if everybody had the same skills.
Right. No, and I'm not suggesting that. I think everybody should just have one thief skill. I'm not saying everyone should have all the thief skills. Just one. Just you pick one and that's it.
But if you can get one, what's stopping you from getting the rest? Oh, I had to go see Joe the lockpick. He taught me how to do it. Well, I
Sure.
saw Joe also, and after I saw Joe, I saw Mike. He taught me how to sneak. He's really good at that.
Speaking of Mike, I think you're right. The wizard spells I think end up way more powerful than the cleric spells. And I think that's the balance because the
In the
cleric
long run,
ends
yeah.
up being more of a tank. In the long run, I think the higher level wizard
Yeah.
spells are more powerful than the.
I
than
think
the
that was
cleric
certainly true in earlier editions. When Wizards, when 3.5 came out, now I've got 9th level cleric spells, and some of them are extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I'm also, but being a guy that's playing, or I just retired, a guy that's playing a cleric, I was not a fan of seeing level 8 and 9 cleric spells. I liked it capped at 7. This is,
Mhm. Sure.
the gods are not going to give you all of their ability. They're going to keep some for themselves. That's the nature. Whereas the wizard is going to continue sacrificing, toil and sweat to
Mhm.
get every bit of power he can muster of it. So I like wizards having those higher level spells.
Yeah, flavor of the thief in the party though. I mean I can get that having a specialist. That's something you guys mentioned. And yeah, I mean that may be some of my mindset edgelord.
Maybe. I think you don't know how that word is actually used.
We're gonna have to get together and chat, edgelord. I think me and you we'll do the next one.
Yeah, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
So I think that stirred it up enough. Decado, you were the only one that hasn't flat out told me I was completely wrong on this. Do you want to do that before we?
Yeah, you're
move
completely
on, or-
wrong.
Oh, okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Look at Stan, keeping it
Thanks,
short
guys.
and sweet.
Yeah, no.
You're wrong. Next.
We got a growing list of people that won't be invited back. Okay, so the no, I love you guys mostly. So rolling, and I know the next I put accuracy, rolling to hit, saving throws, rolling to avoid, and all that stuff. I think that there should be a roll every time a spell is cast, whether it's the caster casting the spell or someone making a saving throw, or if it's like a ray or aimed thing that it's, a roll to hit or whatever. I don't like it. I can't think of any systems that are like this, but I can't think of a system that has like several where you got to roll to hit and then there's a saving throw or multiple rolls. But I like the idea of rolling for spells, whether it's one way or another, a defense roll or an attack roll or a casting roll. Right. I mean, and that makes sense, right?
Yep, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Shadow Dark's, roll to cast, and you can fumble a spell, and or you can critical hit with a spell, and basically, critically hitting with a spell is just you double one of its numerical attributes of
Yeah,
the,
and
you know what I'm
I have
saying?
used that. I have
And
used that in the past as well. Yeah,
and the
and that's great.
fumbling, you lose the spell for. I mean, I've seen a number of different things. Like you could lose the spell for a week. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And or you can have it hit party members or yourself. You take damage from yourself. So so I like the fact that you do have and Shadow Dark has spell spell fumbles for magic users. It doesn't have one for clerics, but they lose the spell used for, until they can do an atonement, which could take up
Cost
to a
money.
week. It costs money and they have to, and it takes time to get it
Yep.
back again. So it could be you fumble on a healing spell, right? You just really hindered your cleric, in that circumstance, because it might be a while before they get that spell back.
yeah,
It's,
So
I don't like the atonement system.
mhm.
For if a paladin goes and does something chaotic or evil, he has to atone. It's like going to confession if you're a Catholic. It the Italian mafia gangster goes to confession and it confesses to killing 5 guys. Oh, I'm so repentful. I didn't mean to do it. Tomorrow he's going to do the same thing. That doesn't count. A cleric casting a spell and he slurred a word, so he blew the spell. Now you have to atone. What? That just feels really heavy-handed to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. If the cleric blasphemes against his god, absolutely, you lose your spells until you go atone. You got to do what you got to do. To me, that's the role-playing aspect of that. But I roll a 1 5 times in one night, so well, my career as a priest is done. A good thing I've got plate
Yeah.
mail. I'm just a fighter now.
Yeah, your god is
Yeah.
smiting you.
I think-
Right. I don't like that.
Yeah.
the roll to cast. We played a lot of DCC, and DCC is fun for one shots and stuff. I think for a campaign, for a longer campaign anyway, the spell casting, rolling to cast, it starts to get out of control with the high numbers and stuff. My only issue really with the roll to cast, and it's like this in DCC and Shadow Dark, that if you fail the roll, you still lose the spell for the day. It's still expend. And I'm not a big fan of that because the wizard might have 4 spells, and then even if you're not rolling a 1, right? So something backfires. If you roll, a 9 or whatever, now the spell doesn't go off, and you still lost the spell. And so it's almost like you wouldn't expect a fighter to like pull out his sword. He pulls out his long sword and he's going to make a roll on it, and there's and he rolls a 9, and then his longsword, disappears until the next day or something. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, that makes sense to me. I have kind of mixed feelings on the spell slot being used, regardless of whether successful or not, or successfully cast or not. To me, that's the fickle nature of magic. So if you blew the spell, I'm sorry. It just you stumbled and your fireball didn't go off. Sorry, that's just the way it goes. But like you said, the fighter, if he rolls a 1 next round or the round after, if he has to recover, he gets to go again. Whereas the wizard fires off his 1 magic missile for the day and it failed, and now the wizard's going, boy, I'm glad I came on this adventure.
Yeah.
So it's to me, really at the end of the day, it kind of like the Appendix N that people keep bringing up. If I'm playing Appendix N and that's what the DM says we're going to play, okay, cool. That's the rules and I'm fine with it. If the DM says if you fumble your roll, you lose your spell, that's the breaks, man. Sometimes that's what happens. I'm okay with it either way.
Yeah. What do you, Decado, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I know like in the case of Shadow Dark, the one rule we added was you have to have successfully at least cast it once successfully
Right.
before you actually lose it. I think that's
You've
a really
mentioned
good
that.
rule for that.
Yeah,
I like
I don't
that.
remember if
I
you've
like
mentioned that on stream or if you've just mentioned that in chats, but yeah.
That way
that's
you don't
pretty good.
wind up, because we had not this year, but the year before I played DCC at ShireCon, and the guy can't remember his name. He was playing a caster, and I don't think he got a single spell off the entire session. Like they just
Yeah.
by the end
Well,
of it, he had
and
Forsworn his
right,
god,
and
and
on
he
the
was
other
like,
side
"Look
of
at
that,
guy."
on the other side of that is what Edgelord is saying here. You know, cast his spell. His wife put a whole town to sleep. You know,
Yeah, but that's because she used spell burn. She didn't
She
just get a
spell burn,
natural
yeah.
20 and she poofed the entire
Right.
town. She used
Right.
spell burn. So I don't think that comparison really works in Ducato's
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
You know, because I've
I-
been the guy that has rolled. In fact, since we're talking about DCC, we were talking about this before the stream started. I have terrible luck, and with DCC, if you crit fumble your spell, not only do you suffer some ridiculous penalty, now your crit is on a 2 or a 1. If you do it again, now it's on a 3 or a 1 or a 4 or 1. By the end of the night, and I have had this happen to me, I now fumble on a 7 or less. So I have a 35% chance
cleric,
of failing, and not just failing, fumbling. And I'm just like, okay, this is it, it's not like if I crit success, my next crit's a 19, then an 18, 17, because it's the same way. One's a fail, I'm fine with that. If one's a fumble, okay, I don't really like it, but I'm fine with that too. If 20's a crit, wonderful, that's fine. But the heavy-handed crit thing, just like we talked about last week with combat, it becomes slapstick and annoying, and I stop having fun very quickly.
And that's that they added that because a cleric in DCC doesn't lose their spells. Even if the spell fails, they can continue to try and cast the spell. So that creeping critical failure number is to balance that. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. But
instead of adding this ridiculous, in my eyes, this ridiculous sub rule, why not just make me lose my spell like you would a wizard?
Right.
Rats.
Treat them the same. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Treat it the same way.
But if you start talking about making the cleric and the wizard cast spells the same, you get in trouble. So,
well, you've already countered your own argument by saying the DCC added this rule to make it different.
No, they did. Yeah. No, I'm just saying that's.
So is that mechanically different or thematically different?
Well, that's mechanically different.
I'm sorry, didn't you just say that it was just thematically different? Wasn't that the only thing that mattered?
No, I'm saying if you made it the same. If you made it the same, there would just be a thematic difference. That's all. I'm all about them being mechanically the same. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
It's one of those things we will never agree on.
No, I know, and that's fine. I know, and that's great.
Yep. Otherwise, we're just sitting here nodding the whole night. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Right. What about spell disruption? You guys use like if a wizard gets hit in combat, should they lose the spell for the round? What if
I give them a concentration check, but they have the chance of losing.
What if a wizard loses initiative? Right, the monster wins initiative and runs up and punches the wizard. Can the wizard then cast a spell on their turn?
This is where spellcasting times come into play for me. If the wizard hasn't gone, and this is just my opinion on it, if the wizard has not gone yet, he has not started casting his spell. So if a monster smacks him, the monster smacks him. Okay. And then, now it's my turn. But again, that's with the casting time. So if I roll a 4 on my initiative die and the casting time of the spell is a 3, if I get hit anywhere from 4 to 7, then I have to roll a constitution check or, concentration, whatever you want to call it. But if I get hit on a 3 and I start casting on a 4, it does not interfere in any way. But look at all that complicated crap I just threw in there.
And that's why AD&D had segments.
Yes.
CNC doesn't really do that. They just say CNC just says, it takes your combat action for the turn.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So, but there's also the reason why they tell you that if you're going to cast a spell, you declare what spell you're casting before the initiative roll.
So I make our guys do.
So that kind of sets that up for, well, if you won the initiative, if the magic user was high up on the initiative scale, higher than their opponents, let's say, then they're going to be able to cast off that spell without it getting interrupted. But they have to declare that ahead of time. So I'm a big fan of that, of them having to declare, hey, I'm going to be casting this, particular spell. Maybe not getting into the, into the weeds with, whether or not it was in this segment as opposed to that. But initiative
Sure.
order, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Sure.
make my guys, they have to tell me when we roll, because we do initiative every round. We roll, and the casters, they have to tell me I'm casting a spell. I'm like, okay, and then we roll initiative, and if they get hit, I give them an opportunity. It's not an automatic where they're going to lose it. They get a chance to make a concentration check, but
Mhm.
there's a chance that they can. And we've had that happen. Does it? I'm sure to some degree it sucks, but it also adds a level of tension to the game, which I think is because they're like, oh, because we've had battles where it has literally come down to the initiative roll. Like if we lose initiative, we're done. Like
Yeah.
this thing is going to
Yeah.
finish us.
Yeah.
Then they win initiative, and you get that sense of elation, and it's like, oh, thank God, because that
Yep.
was going to be
Yeah.
bad. So, and I've had it go the other way where they did lose initiative and bad things have happened, and that's how you make good. That's how good game
Yeah.
sessions and stories are made. So I use it. It doesn't happen a lot. My guys that play casters are pretty smart. Like they, especially the wizard, he does whatever he can to stay out of melee. I mean, it happens. He got dropped in Saturday session. He got dropped to -4. So
What's your concentration look like? What's a concentration check? Is it like a constitution with the difficulty being the level of the spell or something, or what's?
That's a good question because it comes up. It does come up very infrequently in our games. I don't know if it might actually be an intelligence check. I think in
Okay.
C&C it's an
It should be
intelligence if you're a
intelligence.
wizard. Yeah.
Sure. Intelligence for
Concentration
a
is an
wizard.
intelligence thing, not
Yeah.
necessarily a physical thing, unless you want to
Sure.
say, if
It's
you're
one of the
interrupting a spell that has a semantic opponent, component, more so than anything else, then you can say, well, you dropped the spell components, or you knocked the holy symbol out of the cleric's hands,
yeah.
kind of thing, and that's what interrupted the spell.
Yeah. So I think too, like one of the issues that I'm finding with this is kind of a little bit off topic, but one of the issues I'm finding with C&C is how saves work. And if it was a Constitution check, the wizard would never make it.
Mhm.
Very rarely would he make it, because you're either those saves are
Prime or
a little
not.
bit wonky at higher level. Yeah, either a prime or not. And
Well,
if it's
yeah, if they're
prime,
prime,
great.
it's a little bit easier. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot easier to make a prime save than a non-prime
yeah.
save. So they would
And
probably
humans
never
might
make
take a human character gets 3 primes, and you might get
Yeah.
a magic user who says, "Hey, you know what? I'm physically weaker, so I better have Constitution as a prime so that I can handle, making a poison check or something along those lines."
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yep. So
What's your favorite spellcasting system, Rich? Will you like Shadow Dark? Is that your?
I like Shadow.
your
That's
go-to
probably
now?
my favorite. I think that gives a nice balance between the magic user, not burning through their spells too quickly, but still have some downside to those fumbles or whatnot. So I think that's probably my favorite system.
So just to kind of recap, right? Shadow Dark, you get spell slots
Right.
that you
You
put
roll the
spells in,
cast.
and then it's roll to cast, and it's an intelligence check, right? You
Correct.
do not add your level, right? It's just you add your intelligence bonus.
No,
yeah, and you can get bonuses to that too.
Yeah, you can get bonuses to it. If you do
Talent.
add the level, like I've done it both ways. Like I've added the level to the roll, but then I subtract based on the level of the spell they're casting.
Right. So there's
You know,
yeah, she has it set up as there's 3 tiers, or is it per
Yeah.
level?
there's 3
Right.
tiers.
Right. So it's
No.
in tier 1 is an 11, and then a 12, and then a 13
Correct.
for tier
Yeah.
3, right? That's the
Yeah.
and then
It's basically
you
the
take-
modify the tier is the modifier to the
Yeah.
DC to cast. So
Right.
if it's a 5, tier 5, you're going to need a 15 or better to successfully cast.
And so if you fail the roll, though, you lose the spell,
You lose the
If you
spell
roll-
for the remainder of the
the day or
the
whatever,
day,
right? Until
let's
you
say,
The
yes.
rest.
yeah. again, so you take a long rest or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then the if you roll a 1, there's a critical failure. You roll on the chart based on the
Correct.
tier of the spell, and it could backfire or
Mhm.
deal damage, or a different
Right.
spell gets cast or whatever. And then if you make it, do you still lose the spell?
No, you can
You
cast it
you
again.
get to
On
cast
trucking.
it again. Okay.
You know, so I've had clerics or priests, whatever they choose to call themselves, and they will not risk casting a cure light wound spell if someone is down by 2 hit points. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a
Right.
first level magic user and that's half their
Mhm.
hit points
Mhm.
to begin with. But yeah, they're like, I'm not going to risk this for something that you can heal up 1 point from bandaging. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So it
Right.
does it forces the spellcasters to be a little bit limited in how frivolously they cast spells. And I think that's a great design philosophy to have, where you don't want them to feel overly confident every time they're casting a spell.
Yeah.
They hate to lose them.
Do you think failing the roll and losing the spell though is the right way to go?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I really like Ducato's kind of little addition to that, where if you you have to have cast it at least once
Mhm.
before you can lose it. Because you got guys like Jason that can't roll over a 5 on a d20 on some nights, and
I'm that guy
and
too.
then he's got 4 spells and he just loses all his spells in the first combat and then can't do anything, except for use a sling the rest of the game.
Well, that's why I say, every magic user should have a sling or darts. Darts are even better, actually. You can throw 3 of those.
Yeah,
It's like,
We actually had that happen early on in our campaign. Our wizard would, burn through his couple of spells, and then he would kind of sulk. Oh, I'm useless now. And we got back to town one day, and my thief, who I didn't play anymore, came up to him in the bar one day and was like, "Take these," and it was a bandolier of throwing knives. It just, if you're running out of spells, just throw a dagger. Yeah, but I'm only going to hit him on like a 19 or 20. You got a 10% chance of hitting him. It's better than doing
Yeah.
nothing. And so he started doing it. He actually started throwing the knives. And every now and then he'll hit, and we're like, yes, good job, dude. 1 point. It's still 1 point of damage. It's great.
mhm.
Yeah. It's a backup weapon.
Um,
The important part about playing a spellcaster, and you just talked about that in a different way. It's resource management. You have a finite amount of power that you can use at a finite number of times, and so you really need to think about what you're doing. It used to, when I was younger, it used to really frustrate me watching wizards walk around that refuse to cast their spells until finally you're like, okay, now I'm going to cast my fireball or whatever. But they were doing it the right way. They were like, no, you guys can handle this, these 3 orcs. There's no need for me to cast my magic missile. 2 ogres coming down the hill. Now it's time for me to use my magic missiles. So you really have to pay attention if you're going to play a wizard effectively.
Mercurius gifted a membership. I think that's on your channel, Rich.
Yes, I'm just sending them a thank you.
Because I don't have members, so.
I was a little confused by that. We have members?
Yeah.
No, thank you very much, my ear trumpet.
And Flint Fireforge got it.
Well, we just have to get you and Ducato and Jason. If Jason has a YouTube channel himself, we have to get you guys all up here to.
Jason just wants to. Jason just wants to come on my channel and tell me I'm wrong. That's
and and then insult some of the viewers and
hey, if that gets you
drive away people that might otherwise be interested in listening to us talk.
That earns you subscribers and clicks and views and everything. You're all
what can I tell you? I'm a jackass. I always
and it's funny, and Jason and I've had this conversation. Right? If we agreed on everything, it would be a boring stream. If everybody was like, "Yeah, that sounds good,"
Right.
Moved on.
When we first. Roger's the DM. Everything about this campaign is his. I take no credit for it. But before we started, he was like, "Hey, I've got some ideas on this campaign I really want to run." And I was like, lay them on me. And so we started talking, and I was like, what kind of bull crap is that? What? No, that's stupid.
He
No,
regretted saying like,
yeah,
right?
no, I was like, no, I don't want
Regretted.
to do that. I don't like that idea at all. And he's like, no, we can do this. And I'm like, and so, but eventually I was like, Roger, it's your campaign, brother. If you want to do it, I'm going to play, but I'm just not going to agree with some of the things you do. And we've been playing for almost 18 months now. Man, we've usually because I drive an hour home. Yeah, on my way home, my phone will ring. It's Roger. All right, so let's talk about this. I'm like, you got it. I got an hour to talk. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so it's always back and forth, but it keeps it interesting, man. I have such a good time on the show telling you you're wrong and hearing how wrong I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
it's
what
awesome.
I like to do.
You know what? It's good to be able to bounce ideas back and forth, between, your experienced go-to players and the, and the game master. And no, I almost categorized. Dakota remember this too. I almost categorized. This is my gold player. This is my platinum player. I don't remember that when I'm talking about there. Yeah. But who is the copper? Yeah, you don't want to be the copper or the bronze player.
Yeah, don't be the copper player.
That's a throwaway, right?
Yeah, we threw our
God.
copper player in the fountain and got rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great to be able to bounce ideas off of, and I have that same back and forth with my players who have been with me now, some of them like 4 or 5 years, and it's like, I'm glad I'm not a magic user in this game. I was like, well, fine, you know what I'm saying? But it's
Play a fighter. What can I tell you?
Hear what you're saying, so then I can take a look at it. But when we have something that doesn't seem to be working the way that I, as the game master, want to see it, play out that way, then I'll listen to you. I'll hear your arguments and everything. But sometimes if it's broken, it's broken. I'm going to change it. And
well, yeah, I think it's important. Like you obviously you want a group that meshes together and plays together, but I'm not looking for an echo chamber.
Right. Yep.
I want to hear, because somebody they could very well have a better idea on how to do something. I'd be like, oh shit, yeah, we should do it that way. Like that works, or yeah, it's just. And I got guys in my group I've played with for, well, one in particular since I started, so it was like preteen, and then one of my buddy Dave, 20 plus years. So I mean, everybody else is.
Man, I just can't even imagine that. I joined the Army right out of high school. I'm from South Florida. I live in Central New York now. I don't know.
He just froze.
Well,
what?
Yeah. Let's see. He's back. Let's see.
Hey.
You back?
Yeah, there's a storm going on outside. My internet sucks, so. Anyway, my whole point to that was I don't know anybody that I grew up with. My friends are like 2 or 3 years I've known them. Roger's the longest one I've known that I actually talk to on a regular basis, and that's been 7 years.
Yeah, it's interesting. In my D&D experience, I have like distinctly 3 groups, like 3 groups of people that I've played with, and it was like the group that I played with when I first started playing, in the very late 80s, early 90s, and then there was the group that I played with after that we played a bunch of bunch of games with superheroes games, and then we went into 3.5 or 3.0 and then 3.5 and all that stuff, and then my modern kind of group that I have now. And there hasn't been a whole, I mean, obviously those groups have like changeover, between them, but yeah, that's the thing.
No.
3 of us are New Yorkers. Ducato is not a New Yorker.
I do not consider myself a New Yorker. I live in the state. I am not a New Yorker.
Yes. 3 of us live in New York State. One of us does not.
Ducato's a Maina.
And
Did I say that right?
And none of us, and I don't think any of us really want to be here, but
I actually
But,
love my area of New York, but the rest of the state sucks.
well, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
That's
there's
funny
some-
because I
there's
love
some
the area
issues.
that I live in, New York, and for me, the rest of the state sucks.
yeah,
I
it's,
live out in the farms and forests. There's dairy farms
yeah,
all
but our
around.
areas are very,
Beautiful.
very similar to each other. You're just a little bit
Yeah.
more north and probably
Yeah.
west of
Yeah.
me, but anywhere in the Hudson Valley, and you guys are
Oh.
just north of the Hudson Valley,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
boy, Hudson Valley is a beautiful part of the
Yeah.
state.
yeah,
Mhm.
We're most of the problems in New York are on
The island.
Long Island. Yeah.
yeah, the island, yes, or the two islands actually,
Yeah.
Manhattan and Long Island.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. If they can consider everything off of Long Island as being
Upstate.
upstate, then
Yeah.
I can call that one island. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
get
know.
me
Westchester
started.
kind of
I'm
sucks.
passionate.
Westchester kind of sucks.
Oh, Edgelord, Western New York. Where?
You're
How
Buffalo,
far?
Rochester, where you at?
How far west? Yeah. Finger Lakes area. I was just down there this past weekend. We went down, me, Jason, and Mike from Thunderstruck Workshop. Amazing 3D printer, by the way. Buy
And
some
good
Ace
guy.
Terrain and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. Yeah, we went down to the Finger Lakes area gaming expo and check that out.
Yeah.
We're happy to have another convention in New York State. And moving on, they had a convention. It was decently sized. They got about 800 people. They have a lot of other events other than just D&D. They do a lot of board gaming stuff, a lot of Magic stuff, and a lot of Warhammer stuff, and I think that spreads some of the crowd thin. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you're down there, check it out. Yeah. Trains a lot like me with main plates here all summer. Okay. Where were we? So Rich, you love the Shadow Dark spellcasting system. I think we
Yes,
covered
I like that. That's probably as of now, that's probably my I think easiest to learn and favorite to use.
All right. So curiously, because Shadow Dark's only been around for 3 years, 4 years, 2 years now.
2 years, really. I think we released in 2023.
What was your favorite system before that?
I kind of liked I like the magic system in Conan 2D20 because it was just so attuned to the setting. It made a lot of sense in that setting. But I mean, I've never been that opposed to the magic system of Dungeons and Dragons until I saw something that was, dramatically different than Vancian. Like I've had DCC for a while. And I like the idea of wild magic and that kind of thing, but I think it's a little bit too unpredictable.
It's a little too wild. Yeah,
it's a little bit too wild.
Yeah, I've cast darkness before and accidentally blotted out the sun for a week. So
so at least that makes sense. It's like
you cast darkness and it's either you blow out a candle, or you blot out the sun. It's like it's never like where you want it to be in the middle.
Or you turned one of the party members into Jello, which makes no sense for a darkness spell, but that's how wild that magic can be. It can be like completely unpredictable.
That was towards the end of the second edition AD&D run. They brought in the wild mage and wild magic, and I remember hating everything about it.
Yeah.
It was just felt so out of place. I just didn't like it.
So what's your favorite magic system then?
Me?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like looking at my shelf. I'm looking back at all the different systems I have. I don't know if I actually have a favorite magic system. It's more I have systems that I don't like to use. There are not any really that I refuse to use. I grew up playing first and second AD&D, so I like those systems. I never really had an issue with them. And so, the all those OSRs that follow in line with all those, I'm okay with those. But, behind me on that shelf back there is Dragonbane, one of the greatest games ever written. And I really like the magic system in it. I think it's
Yeah.
fun. I like that the wizard can reuse the spells. He just has to roll to succeed, and you're good to go.
And they have the tiered spell thing where it's like, okay, you could spend 2 points and it does this first
this.
effect, or you could
Yes.
spend another 3 and like you could get up to the tier 2 of
Yep.
that spell, or tier 3 and roll more dice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun. And and that you don't lose the spell and all that because that's based on the point.
Yeah.
A point
Your
system.
willpower points.
A way long time ago, I was playing second edition with some friends in the barracks, and the guy that was running it said, and he was talking to me, and he said, I have a system for you that I think you're really going to like. And once we play it, you're never going to want to play AD&D again. And I remember looking at him going, that's a very bold statement, sir, because I'm a huge fan of AD&D. And it was Palladium RPG, which is not terribly popular. Plenty of people have played it. But it's it died out a long time ago. But he was right. I actually really like the Palladium RPG for a number of reasons, and I like the magic system. Although it's been so long since I played it, I couldn't tell you what I liked about it. I just remember being, wow, this is great. There you go.
I
don't make fun of
Dad
spell
and
points.
Son. I don't I don't hate a spell point system. If it's if it makes sense. And that's even the alternate thing for Castles and Crusades, right?
They use an MEP
MEP
system. Yeah.
And that's just a spell point system, right? And I remember reading through it, and Edgelord, he's this Edgelord guy seems like a cool dude. He's like either that or he's just agreeing with a bunch of us just because. But Palladium for spell points.
Shellback just mentioned 5th edition Shadowrun.
Yeah.
I liked Shadowrun's magic. It worked just like firing a pistol. You roll your d6s to get successes. My issue with the early editions of Shadowrun, because I didn't play 5th. I stopped right before 5th. I played the 4th edition / anniversary edition. I started with 1st and 2nd. My issue with the early editions of Shadowrun magic is that it was not very well defined. So things could run away very quickly. Polymorph into an animal, I remember, was a spell that one of my spellcasters used to abuse all the time. Shapeshift into an elephant. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, dude. Fine, you're an elephant. You've got 1,000,000 hit points. You can trample on everything. Game's over. Ready to go home. Anyway.
Palladium Fantasy, no comment.
It's great.
Riffs, no comment. Okay. Military Bros, biggest tabletop nerds is great. Yeah. Let's consider a group where army dudes fun as hell. Yeah, and I've never served, but like I've heard great stories from Jason about people in the military and those games that he's that he's played out there. And I mean, I would guess, and tell me if I'm wrong. I know you like to, but I mean, I would guess like especially when you're deployed, or I guess even when you're stationed somewhere, like you've got like a 12-hour shift of like watching the gate or whatever or something, and is that
but that's not real. I mean, if you're watching the gate, you're not playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're standing there watching the gate.
Sure. No, I don't know.
But really what the guys that are stationed stateside, if you're stationed at Fort Benning, Columbus, Georgia's right outside the gate. It's a city with Americans in it. I did 4 tours in Germany. And my first tour, I was 19. I was a barracks rat, just like a lot of young men were. I didn't drink, still don't drink, don't smoke, didn't. I had a steady girlfriend back home, so I wasn't looking to go to the red light district. So I gravitated towards other guys like that. My group, when we got back from Desert Storm, we had 13 regular players, and that's a massive group. But amazingly enough, I mean, I remember us sitting in the day room. It was this huge room with like 30 chairs in it. We're all around the table, and there was never any chaos. We just played 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons. We played from Friday after final release, 1600, 4 or 5 o'clock, and we would play until Sunday evening at about 8 p.m. I remember sleeping on the floor in the day room and waking up and being ready to play some more. So that was amazing. Everybody in the military has the same kind of experience. The only problem with that is when you're lower enlisted, if most of us are single, you are changing duty stations every 2 years or so. So you might have a guy in your group steady for 18 months and then he's going to leave. So, but it's just constantly cycling group. But that also added a lot to it because you would get a bunch of different guys that all had a bunch of different ideas. And so it really kept the game fresh. It was wonderful. Really, really loved it. And then when I stayed in longer, as I got promoted higher and higher, my schedule changes. I retired as a sergeant first class, but once I made it the NCO ring, once I became a sergeant, I was not comfortable hanging out with lower enlisted. And it wasn't because I was being a snob, it's because I'm in charge of these guys now. So I have to be in charge of them 24/7. That's how the military is. So it was difficult for me to be like, okay, team, see you guys Monday. And then 30 minutes later, I'm in the day room hanging out with 4 of them. That's setting myself up for something unfortunate to happen. So my gaming became more selective. My group became much smaller. But man, I played Dungeons and Dragons the entire 26 years I was in the Army. No regrets. Had a great time.
Yeah, shellbacks. People usually don't like spell points. Mana systems don't like encumbrance inventory either. I don't know about that so much. I don't know. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've ran into anybody that likes one and not the other or whatever, or doesn't like both. But me personally, I mean, I like the Vancian, magic system. And, again, because I've read a lot of the Appendix N. And if you read Vance, like you could tell where the magic system came from. So, I mean, I kind of like that. And I also like the idea of a wizard being able to have their utility, like their spells, and not have to worry about, oh, is this going to work or not? Like they have it and they use it and it's done. And that's no diss on like Shadow Dark or something. I really do like the system. I think it just needs like that little tweak that like Ducato added of, you have to have at least have cast it once.
Yeah.
Like I really like that idea. And I mean, maybe that sounds a little more powerful than it should be, but I don't.
No, because
I don't think it would be.
I mean, if I can see the point of like you go to cast your spell and you fail it the first time, now you can't cast it for the rest of the thing. So I could see that, like, oh, you have to at least be able to cast each one of your spells at least once, before you lose it. Now, what if you fail twice? Do you lose it then at that point, or
no? According to Ducato, and he's the man of the word on this one.
Yeah,
is, no, you would keep going until you cast it at least once, and then and only then after that you would.
I guess that's fine because it's not effective until you actually cast it.
Yeah, until you actually cast it, right?
Successfully anyway.
And then at least make sure that like you have it.
So that's not. Because you're still not going to frivolously cast.
Right.
That's the only thing that I would be concerned about is that, you don't want him to feel like I can just cast a spell whenever I want.
Right.
I had a real nightmare situation with a player of a magic user who was just casting invisibility on himself. And then felt like I'm not going to participate in any combat or anything. I'm just going to chill out here invisible until, almost everything is almost done. And then I'll drop a web on top of everybody, and then, and
right.
now I'll wait it out for, the remainder of the thing. It was just a real flaw in,
I would consider casting a web spell an attack, and I would have the invisibility.
Well, yes, well, no, but that's
right.
what I'm saying. Okay. Is like once he saw that, it was pretty much all right. Now I'll drop a web spell, and I'm completely removed from from the action at that point, and I just didn't, I didn't like the fact that it was a definite flaw in that spell that it can only it could only be disrupted when he attacked someone.
Yeah.
Until I thought about it, and when they were fighting some werebores, I was like, he smelled you. How's he smell me? I was like, a boar can smell a freaking truffle 25 feet under the ground.
Right.
It's going to be able to smell you standing 5 feet away from it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, and it became a big dispute, to the point that I was like, guy's gone, and then I dramatically
That
changed.
guy was a dink, though. That guy was a dink.
No, he was a pain in the ass.
I don't even play in that game, but I followed his comments, and he was a dink.
Yeah.
You were way more tolerant than I would have been.
Holy crap. No, I was just trying to, because he was playing in so many of my different games during the week too, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just done with it. So, magic systems can be very challenging for a game master, no matter what system you're using. Because players I found are they really do not like losing their ability to cast a spell, because to them, and possibly rightly so, to them that's their whole purpose. A fighter doesn't lose their ability to do their primary ability, and that's why I like a system like Shadow Dark, where as long as you're successfully casting, you don't lose them.
Yeah. Mike, I just want to address Mike really quick down here. Mike, first, I'd like to note that I plugged your store earlier. I don't know if you heard that or not. And then you're going to go and you're going to do this.
You're going to throw that vile comment up, Mike.
No, but the 5e magic system, I don't think is really bad. The magic system on its own. I mean, the 5e, Decato's got something to say on that. It looks like
point.
I think for the most part, it's a Vancian system. I don't like I don't like that there's 20 classes that have access to magic, and I don't like the warlock that can just every turn 5d6 range, I mean, some of that stuff. But as far as the normal, the wizard and the clerical casting stuff, I don't think I have an issue with that. I think it's pretty close to Vancian. But I'm not sure. Decato, what do you got on that?
All right. Just my personal opinion.
Sure.
5e spellcasting sucks. It's awful.
You are correct, sir.
I played a wizard in a 5e game, and I played him to about 15th level we finished the campaign. And the spellcasting part of that character was my least favorite part of that character. And the reason is...
So what's different?
So what they do is, on the surface, it looks like Vancian magic. You have your slots and, numbers per day, all that stuff. The problem is the upcasting. So at 15th level, there is absolutely, unless I'm casting shield, there is no reason for me to cast a first level spell, because what is it going to do? Nothing. So I would upcast magic missile so I could get my
that's right,
whatever, and launch them. Whereas in a true Vancian magic system, where it's just based on your level, it's much more. You're playing a much more powerful wizard. By the end of that, I was totally disanchanted with 5e in general.
You're
I played a lot of it, but the spellcasting I just did not like at all. It just
I played mostly fighter. I played a fighter and a rogue.
You're better off.
A rogue, and then that was it. So what is your favorite casting system?
Well, for me, the bulk of my experience is Vancian magic. I like Vancian magic, and there's ways to tweak it, like with the read magic stuff. And a point too, I misspoke earlier. In Dragon Slayer, it's not an innate ability. You can just channel read magic, so you don't have to memorize it. But if you want to read a scroll, you can burn a spell slot. That's how it works. Read and write magic, or whatever the other one is. There's two that you can do. But I just wanted to clarify that.
I think detect is the other.
Yeah. That's it. You can channel those. But most of my experience was with Vancian magic, so I mean, it's fine. I mean, that's what I'm used to. However,
Yeah.
I did play in a Shadow Dark game where I played a wizard, and I did really like the way Shadow Dark its magic. Like there was, especially Jason and I are very much alike. We're horrible dice rollers, so like every time you roll the dice, it's like I don't know if this is going to work, but let's hope. And but I kind of liked that tension, and I liked um, being useful throughout the entire adventure.
Yeah.
Because okay, yeah, I had a good session. I was keeping my spells and I was able to keep casting. Um, I do like that. I've seen several Dragonbane wizards or casters played, and I like them. I have yet to play one myself, and I like that system. I like that system anyway. That's my favorite probably overall. I like I like how that works, where you roll to cast and you have willpower points and you burn those. And there's a new game coming from Reaper Miniatures is putting out their own RPG. I just got the final PDFs, and they're doing a point system where you get like first level. I think you have 4 points, and then every level after that you get 2. The game only goes to 10th level. And that's how you cast your spells. So
I forgot about their game.
I'm not an expert on it. Like I just got the PDFs. So
Was that on Kickstarter or something, or?
yep.
That was a while ago, right? That was a couple of years ago. Yeah, I forgot all about the fact that they have their own system out there.
Yep.
I don't even know if I backed it.
It's called the Dungeon Dweller RPG, and it's based on the Dungeon Dwellers, an old miniatures line which Reaper acquired. They have a Dungeon Dweller miniatures line within their company. Yeah, and they're setting it. They've always had like their own setting. And years ago in the 3E era, they actually put out a couple modules, and it's all in their own setting. So that's kind of neat if you're a miniatures nerd like myself. So, and then you can go on the Reaper website, and like I was looking at the PDFs the other day, and they would have like a character with a name, and I would go on the Reaper website and put the name in the search engine, and boom, a miniature would pop up. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. I like that. I'm a big fan of iconic characters in gaming. So that was neat to me because I'm a nerd that way. But that looked interesting. I don't know anything. I mean, I haven't run it. I will likely when it finally shows up, but
I don't even remember if I backed it or not. I'll have to go look.
Yeah, I did.
Dungeon
I knew it was going to be.
I didn't, but I'm looking at their website now to see if it's even available. I don't see how they buy anything.
They only had really one guy writing it. This guy Joseph Wolf. Really seemed like a good dude too. He very responsive to the fans and stuff. I asked a question just the other day on their Discord about there's this faction that miniatures are named after, and I painted a bunch of them, but I didn't have any information about them. So I just asked, is there any information about these guys anywhere? And Christ, he posted a bunch of stuff. He's like, yeah, I have basically a whole thing about that area that they're from sitting on my computer. That's a project down the road, but very, very generous with time and information, I felt. I knew that was going to be there was no way that Kickstarter was going to ship on time because it was just very ambitious of what's in it. But it looks pretty decent.
Yeah,
I'll definitely give it a shot when it comes.
Knucklebone Productions says he backed it. PDFs are available. Books are shipping in January. So
so it's not even available yet. That's why I'm looking to see.
No, it's not.
That was they did that Kickstarter a long time ago.
Oh yeah. That was due like well over a year ago.
Okay.
Death Angel made a comment about asking if a rogue should be able to use scrolls and wands. What about fighters? I don't know. I'm okay with a rogue or thief class, kind of having like a use magic ability or use magic item. But I think if it's a Vancian system, then the rogue should have to like roll. Like I don't think it should just be an automatic thing. Maybe
didn't they? AD&D one have to do that. They had an ability. One of their thief skills was use magic,
and it was slim. And it wasn't like 95% chance success. No. It was like 15%. And then like everything else, it crept up.
And like a fighter, and a fighter definitely not. A fighter shouldn't be able to use a scroll or a wand or anything like that.
I don't I dislike that about 5e has that. It's intentional.
Mhm.
I don't want to turn this into a 5e bashing thing because then I could go on for weeks. But
Yeah.
it was in like all the classes could do anything. Like, and that's
Somebody
I think
left
it
a
sucked.
comment on one of our one of these videos about that we had a 5e bash fest or something and didn't like
Really?
that. So
It's
yeah,
probably me.
yeah,
And
there's
I will never
there was a
apologize for
comment.
that. Wizards
I played
is
it
a
enough
horrible
where I'm
company,
entitled to
and
my
5e
opinion.
sucks.
It may have been the Free League one. I'm not sure, but
Oh well,
um,
according
so
to
sorry to
comparing 5e
interrupt
Free
your
League, it's like,
sorry to interrupt your 5e bashing with
oh,
that important
yeah.
notice. But
I don't like Death Angel. I don't like when every class.
yeah,
I don't want like one of the things that really one of the many things that attracted me to like Castle and Crusades was forecasting classes.
Mhm.
You know, that was it. You got the Druid, the Cleric, Illusionist, and Magic User. That's more than enough for me. I mean, we've dabbled. We haven't played it. We did dabble with making a Warlock, but it was basically, for the most part, porting over the Hyperborea Warlock because I think Hyperborea did a great job with their classes. But
what's ABP?
The Adventurers
Adventures
Backpack.
Backpack, the new
Oh,
one,
Adventurers
the
Backpack.
Reforged.
The Reforged. Yeah.
I have another announcement. My
Yeah.
Dolmenwood finally shipped.
Hey.
No,
I just got an email.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when it shows
Yeah,
up. Right?
when it's on my doorstep, I'll be like, "Oh, look at that!"
I'll believe it when I see the unboxing video.
I
There'll be one.
I just got 5 games come in the last like 2 to 3 days. So
Really?
yeah, I'm really well. Troll Lords, I just got 3 things from Troll Lords. You know, so they finally, you know, they fulfilled. I shouldn't say finally, but they fulfilled their Codex Exaltum and Infernum, and
Mine's
then that
sitting
came
in
along
Maine.
with the Tomb of the Unclean. So
Mhm.
Okay.
got a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
got that
of
coming.
all.
Those are the new
I
I
ones.
got that coming.
Those
Yeah.
are the reforged ones, versions or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure if these are actually labeled as reforged. They don't have the the badge on it. So let's see if there's a. I didn't
They
even
might
think
have
of
just
that.
put it out there.
Let me
I hope it
see
isn't.
if it has the OGL in it, because that's one way to know.
While Bloodworth is looking,
Yeah.
one of the things that in your campaign that we've really stuck to, and I'm all in favor of, is if it replicates another class, you don't allow it, with very few
Yeah.
exceptions.
Yeah.
And that is, excuse me, that is my problem with spell point systems or spontaneous casting systems. And I always use the thief as an example. Party goes into a dungeon, they come across a locked door. The thief says, "Okay, I'm going to try and pick the door." And if he fails, the wizard's like, "Well, I can spontaneously cast knock, so I do that." And for me, now you've just made so this wizard or this rogue doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's in the party anymore, and I really don't like that. And that's with so many magic systems. That is my grief with the spells. There are so many spells that make other classes either ineffectual or obsolete, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
All the classes should be protected so that they can be allowed to do their thing.
So, Adventure Conquer King system, he pulled out spells like that. So he doesn't have
Awesome.
knock. He doesn't have knock in
I'm
the
digging
system, and I don't remember what else.
Well, that was like, Sunday,
but he pulled that stuff out.
Joe's Druid was like, I'm going to cast fine traps, pits and snares.
Yeah.
And
Stuff. He pulled that stuff out as
and
well.
to me, the Druid, I'm okay with him casting detect pits and snares out in the wilderness. He's detecting snares.
Sure.
Inside a dungeon, your spell fizzles. You don't lose that spell slot, but it's useless in this dungeon. This is not your area.
Don't get him going. Please. I've heard him complain about the thing long enough. All right. Don't worry, Ducato. It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. We'll see.
No knock. Yeah. No knock. That's I don't know if that's a reference to something else, but yeah, there's no knock. No knock, no fine traps, no none of that. it's for the same reason Jason said. We want zero overlap of
Yeah.
classes because
That's one of the
that
things I
is
like about CNC that does that.
that
They
is
don't really
ridiculous.
overlap.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, but they still have knock spells and things
They
like
do.
that. So
Yeah.
so it's like Jason saying like, oh, the thief like fails to pick the lock, and it's like, oh, the wizard just like, oh,
But it's very rare for a magic user to take that spell if there's a thief in the group. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're,
sure.
you know, I don't recall. I don't recall the last time our higher level magic users actually bothered to take that.
I think that our wizard took spells like that just so he could do the thing before anybody else could. Is that?
Yeah. And Shellback, that's I agree with your statement. Yeah, it's the spontaneous casting that where I don't like
Yeah.
spells like that. If the wizard's
Yeah.
to me like, well, I can memorize Stinking Cloud or Knock, and today it's going to be Knock. All right, cool, man. If
Yeah.
that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
you know, good luck. Hopefully, we get to
Yeah.
use it today.
Yeah, passive skills that I don't like passive skills either. But
Yeah,
you
the
know,
fighter has a knock spell. It's called the Maul.
yeah,
It's like
the
we
fighter
just-
has a knock spell.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
It's just
and,
boom.
and I've heard that counter argument. Well, you know, if the thief fails to, you know, the strong guy can just kick the door open. Yeah, he has to roll to succeed. He might fail too.
Yeah.
The door
Yeah.
may just not open, but a knock spell will open the door.
Yeah.
And I just,
Yeah.
you know, it's like the find pits and traps thing. You're taking some of the edge off the dungeon by using this crutch of magic, and so I just don't like it.
I don't know if
Yeah.
CNC does it, and specifically with knock, but the earlier versions of it, the counter to it was when you used it, it gave off this sound that could be heard from like
Yeah, it was like a
300
door
feet.
chime or something like that.
Yeah, it was like ding.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like
Somebody's
let's just
coming.
do this all day long.
Yeah.
I don't
'Cause that's
I don't
gonna draw
remember
attention.
that. I don't remember that from the Reforged books, but also
don't have
our
them.
group has a big problem of not reading the entire spell description.
We're working on it.
I've had that problem as well.
I have made that mistake,
occasionally.
but I try to.
Yeah,
try
we
not
all
to.
have.
No, I mean, and it happens, but I mean, you know, there's, yeah. Will knock open a stuck door?
Yes.
No, knock will
I'll have
open
to
the
look.
door. Knock
Yeah.
unlocks
That's
and
what I
opens the door. The only doors that or I think in CNC it'll do everything. I think
Yeah.
There's, like,
In
magical
CNC, it
sealed doors
unlocks.
that it won't.
It will open a stuck door.
right, even if
Yeah.
it's magically sealed.
Well, if it's magically sealed, I would make it do an opposed check.
Make a roll or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll say, like, I've seen adventures where they say specifically,
Yeah, this
knock
won't
does
work.
not open this door
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to have whatever.
I definitely
item
have
is.
I definitely have doors in my world that they can't be opened with knock.
True that.
But
I do too.
but yeah, they're far and few between. They're just things that have been put there or sealed by, you know, the spellcaster of, you know, unmentionable level, you know, type of situation. But yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, my I don't know. I'm kind of partial to the Vancian myself. I do like a roll to cast, and I think that would be interesting to try. And I don't know if trying it in my current campaign is a good idea. Like if I said, hey, and I know like Matt at with the Barrows and Borderlands, Matt, like he has zero problem saying, hey, special announcement for the next 3 weeks. We're using this, you know, this magic system, and this is the way things are, or whatever. But I don't know if that's a good idea.
That's part of the flavor of his game, though.
Right. Yes,
His game,
correct.
So when you sit
Right.
down at the table, you know some wonky stuff may just be happening tonight.
Yeah, right. And so I don't know. I don't know if that would go over well. I mean, you're a spellcaster. I mean, you know, for the well, you have the powerful cleric in the game. I mean,
Yeah.
what
I'm playing a monk
what
now,
would you
baby. That
feel?
was
You're playing a
liberating.
monk now, yeah.
Oh boy, I had
do you
such a
feel
good time
about
last weekend.
if we tried doing like a roll to cast system to see if it would work?
Um,
No,
keeping in mind that I would roll ones all night long. But really,
Yeah,
that has
right.
nothing to do with it. I don't mind roll to cast when it's part of the system. I talked about this last week. Things that are built in, and the free league discussion we had. There are parts of the systems that are written into the system as a balancing act to create a complete system. I don't like piecemealing stuff because I feel like it throws things out of balance. Spell casting is already difficult enough without yet another roll, and that just leads to really. I have to roll to cast a spell.
Really quick. I'm sorry to interrupt. Rich
Sure.
has got to drop.
Yep. Guys, great
so-
discussion. Really enjoyed it, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
fun.
nice because magic systems is something I really do like to hear other
Yeah.
people's opinions on how they implement it and everything like that. So definitely try out the thing that Takata was saying as far as you don't lose it unless you've cast it the first time, and see how that works. So far we haven't had that issue, but it's something to keep in mind
Yeah.
as well. Anything that allows, I think Jason was saying it as well, anything that allows the magic user to feel like they're useful through the whole session, or maybe this was Takata as well, I think is a big plus, because I've seen the nightmare on the other side of that, of just not being able to cast. So thanks very much, guys. Jason, happy Veterans Day.
Thanks,
Edgelord,
man.
thank you very much, and enjoy. And yep, thanks a lot, guys. Next Tuesday, I'm probably driving at this time next Tuesday. So
Yeah,
no
problem.
But I'll try to catch it some other time when
let me know when you're off. Yeah,
day off on Tuesday. I'm not off again until like Christmas. So that whole 2 weeks time, I'll be off.
We'll figure it out. Yeah,
I'll definitely check in.
We'll figure something out. Yeah.
All right. You'll have a good one.
Thank you so much. Take
All
care.
right. Take it easy.
So anyway, I don't mind the roll to cast thing, but I want it to be built into the system. If you start adding it onto systems like CNC, then it becomes just another frustration for me. I'm in the middle of combat getting my crap kicked in, and now I have to roll to successfully cast, and I have to fight his magic resistance, and he gets a saving throw, and I have to roll for damage of the spell. It just okay.
Yeah, right.
No,
I get it, and I'm not saying like, hey, let's implement this next week. I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that. That's all.
Sure. Yeah, I don't care for it. It's just an unnecessary role in my opinion.
Speaking of CNC, hey, new player's handbook in January. Basically, new cover.
Bass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
I thought about making a comment, but let's just
I love
my tongue.
I've said before, man, I love the Troll Lords. I'm a big fan of CNC, but I have 5 players handbooks, all different printings, sitting behind me to my left. I do not need another one that is going to be rife with more spelling mistakes,
they all
terrible
have the same,
layouts, just the same crap from print number 4.
The same problems. Yeah,
I'm going to have to pass.
No, that was that's that. So yeah, what I'm trying to think of what other systems are out there for spellcasting. I know we talked about the a normal Vancian system and having spell slots, roll to cast, Shadow Dark, DCC does that. Spell points. There's the spell point stuff from Dragonbane and the alternate system in CNC, and I guess Amazing Adventures uses that, right? I think I don't know if that's their default.
I don't recall.
I haven't.
Yeah, they use something different. I think it's more along. I don't have those books anymore. I think that MEP system. I think it's more in line with that. Maybe
something it's like not, that. Yeah,
it's not,
which is sort of points based.
So, yeah.
And then Dragonbane is interesting, right? Because Dragonbane, you spend the points and you have to make a roll.
Yep.
It's not one or the other. And you don't do you lose the points? You still lose the
Yep.
points even if you fail the roll, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
But you don't lose the spell. You just lose the
but
points.
you
No,
don't
you
lose
can
the
do it
spell
again.
because there's
Next
no
round, you
right,
spend
there's
2
no
more points, and
slots.
you can try again. Yeah.
There's no slots
I
because
think
of the point-based thing. Yeah.
I think if you're going to put like roll to cast in, say like a game like Cast Crusades, I think you almost have to get rid of saving throws, like because it's a like why do you get
Yes.
two
No,
chances?
I agree.
You know what I
And
mean? Like
I think there
I would
should be
stop using saves. Yeah,
one roll for a spell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If it's to hit, then it's to hit. If it's a saving throw, then it's a saving throw. If you're rolling to cast, then it's a roll to cast, and that's it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
Yeah.
have to have
5e actually
multiple
did
spells.
that. Like if my wizard when I played a 5e wizard, I would gravitate more towards using the roll to cast spells because my DM, my buddy Matt, was awesome at rolling saves, and nine times out of 10 he was going to make a save, and it would just frustrate the hell out of me. So a lot of times I was just using whatever was the roll to hit spells because then it's just on me, and I had a really good
Yeah.
bonus, to hit. So more often than not
Yeah.
that I'd hit, and then there was no unless they had something else like some sort of resistance, I was good. So yeah, I think if you're going to have roll to cast, you shouldn't have to also, they shouldn't be getting a saving throw because you're already,
Yeah.
other
No,
than the only other thing
I
like in
agree.
CNC would be like spell resistance, but you roll that first anyway, and that's just a
Right.
D20 roll. So
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. Then that's definitely something that would be like I think very not only would it take longer at the table, but it would make it like harder to do the spell.
yeah, it's gonna be
Like
harder to get
because now
spells
you're
off
like, oh,
if
I
you
gotta roll
do
the
both.
cast, oh, I gotta roll to see if I hit. Then they're gonna roll a save. Like ultimately they're gonna fail one of those, somebody's gonna fail or make the roll or whatever. The spells are never gonna happen.
That was my
You know.
frustration with the white dragon that we fought a few weeks ago. I
Yeah.
understand the reason behind magic resistance. I get that.
Sure.
But magic resistance on top of saving throws, and we've all talked about how the
Yeah.
saving throw thing in CNC gets wildly out of control as you gain
Sure.
levels.
Sure.
At every spell I cast, it resisted. Okay,
Yeah.
what the hell am I even wasting my time with? It seriously got to the point where I didn't want to play this game anymore. And man, that takes a lot because I love Dungeons and Dragons so much. It was so frustrating. Spell after spell after spell was resisted, and then when it finally didn't resist, it saved. And I'm like, okay, I stab
Yeah.
it with my spear.
Yeah.
I'm just a fighter. Don't even worry about casting spells. I died having cast 3 first level spells as an 8th level cleric. I never cast any other spells because I knew I was just going to be wasting my time.
Yeah.
That is very frustrating.
That was
you
the
only
thing
have
in 5e too, because you would have like really big bad monsters would have like legendary resistances. So you knew that if they wanted, on average, they could ignore 3 spells that you were going to hit them with because they could just automatically make their saves.
Yep.
And I get it because it was
Yeah.
trying to make the monsters tougher. It's crappy design, but that it is what it is.
Yep.
But yeah, it was like, so I'm like, I remember fighting a dragon in one of the games I played in, and I literally only cast magic. I had 2 magic missile wands, and I just kept firing magic missile because it just was going to automatically hit, and I would do a little bit of damage, and because none of my spells were going to matter that if I cast them. So it
Yeah.
was frustrating.
And I understand why like spell resistance is there. I don't know what like the solution. I guess the solution would be to just give dragons like more hit points or something instead
I
of
don't know if that's a
you know
solution though, because that
Right.
no
just turns it into a
You know,
slog.
right. And I
Right,
don't like it.
right.
Like I said, I don't like it,
Yeah.
but it is part of the system. And I know that going in.
Yeah.
So, it was frustrating for me watching my spells just can be completely
Yeah.
ineffective. But I knew going in, we're fighting a dragon. It's very high level. We already know that part
Yeah.
too. We were able to figure that part out. So we know this is going to be a tough fight. It was just very frustrating, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it gets to the point where it's like, okay, I'm not fighting a dragon anymore. Now I'm fighting a demigod. If it's a demigod, okay, cool. Let me know ahead of time and I will go somewhere else. And so it was,
Yeah.
I
The
don't
other thing
know.
you can do too, though, is
Yeah.
because I know I've used monsters in my CNC game that have magic resistance, and that frustrated our wizard. And then he turned around and did like magical research, and he found spells that were like, oh, this spell ignores magic resistance. So I
Right.
was like, oh, well, crap. You know, so,
Yeah.
but he found a solution for his problem, or
Mhm.
to some
Yeah.
degree. I don't mind magic resistance. I mean, I'm obviously coming from the game master side of the screen, so
Sure.
just because
Sure.
it can be tough to sometimes, not as much as in CNC or OSR games, but to challenge parties with like a single creature, because parties tend to hit
Yeah.
heavier than against those than if because they can focus.
Mhm.
And I as a game master, I don't like having like 10 bad guys on the table, because it's 10 things I got to keep track of. And especially if they're powerful, it's like they probably have a
Right.
bunch of things they can do. And then I got to try to keep all that straight in my head. And that's never a good idea. So, um, having something that's a little bit powerful that can stand on its own because it has magic resistance and can
Yeah.
kind of frustrate not personally, but like frustrate
Mhm.
the caster,
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, and I
And I'm
understand
sure
that
I'd be like bumming if it was
they're
me too. I'd be like, damn it.
they're magical creatures or whatever that have been around for 1,000 years or whatever, so
Right.
they've built up
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
resistance to it.
And like we said going in, it was a level 20 dragon. It was a 20 hit die dragon. We knew going in that it wasn't like a wormling that just hatched 3 days ago. This is something that's been around
Right.
for a very
Sure.
long time. We knew that going in, and so and like
Yeah.
I hate that thing. It wasn't it wasn't like the group was like, oh, Roger screwed us over with this mattress. It was nothing like that. It was just very frustrating. But anyway, I've said that
Yeah.
3 times now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Uh,
I agree with Shellback that what he said is exactly how
yeah.
I feel about it.
Boost the saving throws or
right.
penalty to attack. I'm going to put it back
Yes.
up for a second so everybody can see
because I had
Yeah.
to roll 3 times for my spell to have any kind of effect on it.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why not give it? Its saving throws are already ridiculous because it's a 20 hit
Just
die
give it a
creature.
+5 or
Right.
something to its
Yeah.
saves or whatever, and that gets
or
magic
my
resistance.
or the wizard's fireball hits it, and he takes even if he fails a save, he still takes half damage. If he makes a save, he takes a
Yeah.
quarter damage. But the spell still hits and it's still effective,
Mhm.
even if it's to a lesser degree. I like that way of going about it.
Sure, because then you're still at least doing something.
Right.
Doing
Your
something.
turn's
Yeah.
not wasted. Yeah, no, I completely understand that. But like I knew, like to get rid of that, you cause other issues
Right.
because because now the creature's not like that's
It's
part of
not
what
100%.
makes it. Yeah, right,
Right.
So yeah, so you go kind of back and
Yeah.
forth there.
Wait, put that back up there. I
Yeah.
can make it fit right. There we go.
So yeah. But yeah, so that's yeah, I guess spell resistance is a tough one. And that's been around from since the beginning, so
Yeah.
and in first edition I don't remember if it was in OD&D.
I don't know.
I
But
don't
I know
I
it
know
was
it was
in
in
AD&D.
I know it was in AD&D. It was in first edition. It was definitely it was percentage, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So, and you just roll a percentage and see if the spell would affect it or not. And then obviously CNC just converted that to a D20 roll.
Yep. Straight D20 roll.
But yeah, so that's something that really has been there. And yeah, I guess there's got to be different ways of handling it. And I wonder if there's any systems out there that have done that, incorporated it into a save or something. Like I can't think of anything that's out there, but but I'm not sure.
I don't typically play spellcasters, so it's not something that I've really had to worry a whole lot about. This cleric is the first real spellcaster I played in a long time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've only really played a spellcaster like once like a real campaign,
Mhm.
when I used to play, I played a wizard,
Yeah.
and I got to be in
I
charge.
played a cleric and a wizard.
But yeah, I've usually played fighters or fighter types or rogues or thieves. That's generally my go-to. Um, Shellback writing his own TTRPG rule set. Good luck. Trying
Yeah.
to balance BX and 1E gaming principles with the features of later game systems, trying to reduce the amount of extra rolling and eliminate D20s. Have you looked at Dragon Slayer? Dragon Slayer is based on BX and has um, some stuff from 1E kind of baked into it. I don't know what other systems are out there that are like that. I'm sure that there's what do you call it? What's the one that they just got rid of the basic edition? They're only going to go with advanced. OSE, Old School Essentials. Old School Essentials Advanced Edition or whatever. That's got a lot of it's based on BX and has a lot of like the AD&D stuff kind of work backwards to work.
Yeah, a little bit. It's still like
Um,
we played OSC Advance, and it's really slated more the BX side. But it does have a few things. We're actually for one of the games my son runs, I think he's going to switch back to Dragon Slayer. He actually liked that better.
yeah, Paul, yeah.
Roger disagrees with every word in that sentence.
No, I understand. Like, I don't think the text is sacrosanct. Let me hide it so I can see your face. But no, I really enjoy, first edition. I think it's like really like the penultimate version of D&D before like corporatization got involved in the whole thing. So that's why I hold AD&D in high regards. Yes, the game is a mess, the editing and the layout and everything. And ignoring the weapon versus AC adjustment table, that to me is sacrilege. If you're going to play AD&D, you don't ignore that table.
There you go. You
Never
just
used it.
countered everything you just said. You have said to me, in fact, we talked earlier about Roger and I having very long discussions about the campaign. When we first started it, one of the things that Roger said to me was that he was going to do this campaign from the first edition DMG, and if it wasn't in it, we weren't going to use it. And if it was, we were. And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me, dude? That thing's a mess." And he was like, "Yeah, but your words were, it's the way Gary wanted it." And
Sure. Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, man, I don't give a shit what
Absolutely.
Gary wanted. Now, keep in
No, I
mind
know.
that I'm a big fan of those editions, and I hold Gary Gygax in very high regard. But there is no way that you can look at the DMG from first edition and be like, oh, this was very well thought out. It's written by a drunkard.
No, I enjoy the there's a lot of good stuff in the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yes, there
Like, I think
absolutely
it's
is.
like
Wow. I have no idea if okay, there you're back.
okay.
It's like
I got
I pissed him
a
off when he left.
notification. I got a notification that it said that I was disconnected, rejoining, and it rejoined. Oh no, I'm on the bottom.
And I agree with Edgelord. Second edition for me,
Yeah,
second edition is a superior system, and I love almost everything about it. The
yeah,
non-weapon proficiencies kind of got in the way sometimes, but I think if you work around those or sometimes just ignore them, man, I have so many very fond memories of second edition. Love it.
yeah. I don't know. Second edition's okay. I mean, I give it a lot of grief, but I just that's at that point, Gary and Dave were gone,
Yes.
and it just like to me it wasn't it just wasn't the same anymore. Like that's the
Yeah.
and that's
I agree.
and they pulled out the demons and all that stuff. Like I get it, I get
Yeah.
why.
They did bring them back to eventually,
they
under
did,
different
yeah,
Monsters Compendium entries. But
absolutely,
but it cannot be ignored that they did do that. but also remember what was going on in the 80s. They did it for a very specific reason.
I know the whole
And
satanic panic thing
yeah,
and all of that
and I
stuff. No,
don't think
I
that
get it. I get it.
I think that they were doing it because they said either we pull this stuff or we may not have a
Yeah.
company in 2 years.
No, right. No,
So-
I understand that. And most of my grief with that is that it's Gary and Dave were gone. They were
Right.
the creative geniuses behind, the game. And I know there's an argument about that, and there were people that came before them that
no,
and all that stuff. But
that's not even but like you're saying,
No,
Gary
I
and Dave were gone. Well, Dave was gone for first edition. Gary
Dave was gone
specifically
for
wrote
first
first edition so that
Right.
he didn't have to pay
Yes.
Dave anymore. I mean, and
No,
that's a dick move.
it is a dick
So,
move. It is,
but that doesn't mean
absolutely
the
a
first
dick move.
edition wasn't worth playing. It clearly was.
Right. Right.
Man, I
but,
love talking about this stuff, dude.
Yeah. No, and there's a lot of there's a lot of history there, and there's a lot of argument and stuff. But I think even with Gary, even though Dave's name isn't on it, there's a lot of stuff that's still there from Dave, from Arneson.
To me, first edition, like you're saying, there's still a lot of stuff in there from Dave. That reminds me of CNC's Reforged. It's like, we got to get rid of the wizard stuff. This isn't the 3.0 or the 1.0 OGL. This is our stuff, clearly influenced from earlier Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
So yeah, same thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe the whole thing is maybe I should just go back to OD&D.
Are you guys hearing Roger crackle real bad, or is it just me?
Am I crackling?
I bet.
Okay.
Was it bad?
I can hear you, but it's very crackly.
Was it just? I wonder. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Is it still crackly?
Yep. Still
Or is
going
it just now and again? Oh boy, I think you just want to boot me. Hang on, let me leave and come back. Somebody crackling Roger. Somebody talk about something.
on. Okay. No pressure at all. Dakota,
No, we got this.
You never say anything. Let's.
All good ideas.
Now's your chance. It's all good ideas.
I never really played second edition. I got a lot of friends that like talk really highly of it and stuff. I mean, we stole stuff from it for our AD&D, but we just played
So
AD&D.
what edition did you start with? Did you play first edition?
AD&D?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played that a lot. I started
Okay.
Before that, though. I always get these mixed up. My very first games were the ones with the Errol Otis covers, the basic.
Oh, the basic
Errol
set.
Otis
Sure,
covers.
sure. Yeah.
So I played that.
The
and
pre-red
then-
That's
box
where I
version.
started. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where I
and then
started,
and then we got Redbox. My friend and I that I've been playing that I was talking about earlier that we've been playing with since the beginning. We got our Redbox from Sears. We ordered them from Sears, and we played Redbox. A little bit of Blue Expert. We have the other ones, but we never really got into it. And then I got AD&D for Christmas one year, and we were off to the races with AD&D.
Man, I envy you for that. My dad was a cop, and he was 100% into that satanic panic. So
my parents
there
didn't give
were
two shits about it.
there
I
were
didn't
no
even know about
D&D
it.
gifts under my tree.
Yeah,
I
no,
started
got
playing.
all the books for Christmas.
I started playing when I found the monster manual in my best friend's older brother's room, and was completely enchanted by it. And so the first thing, I was looking at it, and he was like, "You want to learn how to play?" I said, "Yeah." So he ran us through the Palace of the Silver Princess, which is a basic module, it's B3, and my character, a fighter named Montana Dubreeze, survived. And after that, man, I was hooked. But we were playing like a mishmash of basic and first. And then a buddy of mine had most of the first edition stuff and didn't want it anymore. So he gave me most of my first edition books. And then I bought the red box from Walden Books or B. Dalton with my allowance. And so then I just started progressing up. And then when second edition came out in 87, 88, something like that, I had a job. I was 17 at that point, 16. So I had a job. My money went to go buying D&D stuff. And so, yeah. So second edition is like, like I said, we were playing a mix of first and basic. So second was, boy, Roger, you're just having a heyday over there.
Is it bad?
Oh, it's terrible. Now
Yeah.
we're getting a sonar ping. It's gone now.
Is
So
it-
second was
did
the
it-
first edition that I ever really played. That was its second edition. That's what we played.
Yeah, we took stuff like I didn't switch to second edition because like it was mentioned earlier, when I saw there was no demons or devils and they took the assassin out of the player's handbook, I was like, what is this kindler
Yeah.
and gentler version of D&D?
Yeah.
I'm not playing this. So I never got it. And then I got stuff later on, books here and there and stuff. I'm actually trying to track down a good copy of the second edition player's handbook with the Jeff Easley cover. I haven't had very good luck so far.
Second edition
Because
player's
my
handbook, you said?
yeah, because my buddy runs that's running our Ravenloft stuff. We were using old school essentials, but he was kind of using second edition, and
This one?
yeah, that one.
And this is the Wizards
Yeah.
production, by the way. This is after Wizards bought TSR.
Yep.
So I mean, it still says
Yeah.
TSR. So
am
did
I
you say you're
still,
looking for one of these?
Yeah.
Oh, dude!
Let-
If I saw three of those
I'm
this
going,
weekend, I will get one for you if I
yeah.
find it. I'll pick one up.
If you can find one,
Yeah.
let me know. I'll
Sure.
gladly send you some cash,
No problem.
money
I'm
for
going
it.
to MEPA this
I
weekend.
looked
If I
online
see
and
one, I'll
they're-
grab it.
I looked online and they're like stupidly expensive, and most of them. I saw one for like $85, and it was literally taped together.
Crazy.
And I was like, I don't think so. I'm not paying that. We had some at Crossroad Games, and then they have a little used section there, and I should check with them again too. But they had some. They're gone now. Somebody bought them. So
Do you care if it's the Wizards moniker or do you want it to be?
no,
like-
I don't want there's the green ones or the black covered ones. I want that one.
Okay.
Like I have the somewhere here. I have.
Do I still sound bad?
Yeah, you're still
Yes.
correct.
So I have
It's just
this
when I
version
cough,
of
though,
the
it's not all the time.
Oh,
DMG.
Okay.
I don't want that one. I want the Jeff Easley. Well, this is
The
Easley cover as
original
well, but
DMG and all
yeah,
that. Okay, cool.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So if you guys come across one, please let me know. But yeah, I have like one of the guys in my group.
So you want
my
this?
friends. I want the PHB. I don't need the
Okay.
DMG. I won't run it
Okay.
as a game master. I just need
Yeah.
a
If
player's
If
handbook.
I see the player's handbook around, I will get it for you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can leave.
One of the guys in
and
my
come
group-
back, so
he played a ton of second edition, and he was in the army as well, and played every weekend. He said, and they played second edition. That's his favorite edition. I just never. We never. I mean, I inherited this from one of my players. He had it, and then I inherited it somehow. And I did buy the monster manual, the big monstrous compendium, and the add-on ones that they did because I
With the
always
three
liked.
ring binder.
No, mine
Oh,
are all.
the hardback.
I got a
Yeah,
solid book.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I like
love that
monster
3-ring
manuals.
binder because every supplement you got had like another 30 monsters you could stick it in there. But I mean, after like looking at it once, the pages would rip out, the binder got smashed.
Yeah.
So those, the actual hardback versions, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
those, and
Try talking, Ryder.
but we're gonna use that.
I was on mute. I didn't know if it.
You're good.
Okay.
The crackling's gone.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, Death Angel. I wasn't sure if I could leave and come back. Yeah, I am running on Restream, Paul. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I could leave and come back. I ended up pulling the power from my USB mixer and then go. Death Angel says it's still crackling.
My end.
Yeah.
It sounds different, but it's not crackling.
Okay, good.
Oh, he said, "Oh, better now." Okay, that
Yeah.
just must be the delay. It sounds different. I mean,
Yeah, you're louder now than you were, but you're not crackling. Don't mess with it.
You're clear though.
Yeah.
okay, I'm clear, but it's not, the loudness isn't bad.
No, it's fine.
I can lower my gain a little bit and see if that helps. But yeah, okay. So sorry about that, guys. Yeah, he lies. He does that Death Angel guy. And now I'm stuck on the bottom and get the stuff in my face. So that's okay.
Excellent.
Oh, I'm talking in Jason's voice now. Okay.
I don't know what
That's
that means. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
The dulcet tones of a smooth baritone.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, what did I miss? No,
Nothing, man. Decado and I are having a great conversation.
second edition.
Yeah.
So the second edition book, I'll look this weekend if I can find one when I'm down in PA. I'll grab you one. Yeah, and I wish we knew that this past weekend, man, because that guy had a few of them there. I don't know what his prices were though.
They were reasonable. I didn't get them because I didn't need it.
Yeah, right. If Decado, if worse comes to worse, I'll give you mine and I'll just buy another one when I come across it. If you want, I mean,
my game master that's running the Ravenloft stuff. We're just gonna switch over fully to second edition. So I was trying to track down a book so we could do it.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a good system for that, especially if he's running the older modules. He's running the modules.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Edition, right?
Yeah.
So there was when we were doing that, it was a little bit like the players were basically using Old School Essentials Advanced. Yeah. And he was using the modules, but the OSE is a little bit more still geared towards BX. So like, we're taking damage from one thing, but like the healing on our end was lesser because it's more BX than advanced, So he was like, maybe next time we'll just use second edition. And I'm like, I'll play it. I'm not running it. I'll play anything typically, I have my preferences. I mean, if somebody hit me with a 5e game, I'd probably say no thanks, unless it was like a group I really wanted to play with. But other than that, like I'll play any game.
Like if Matt Mercer called you up and said, "Hey, we want you to play 5e with us on stream."
New phone. Who this? Click. Yep. No,
if it was, I'll say this: if it was back during their first campaign, I would have said yes.
Yeah,
and,
right.
I mean, for the experience, I mean, it's not like I'm doing it for the rest of my life. So, like, I could go and say, yeah, I did that.
Sure.
And then have the way their tone of game isn't my cup of tea now, but their first campaign was very much my cup of tea. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, right.
I haven't enjoyed anything since or been able to finish watching anything since. I'm more I'm right now I'm enjoying the Glass Cannon Network's Shadow Dark campaign. They're 2 sessions in. They're doing a great job with it.
Cool. It's good. Yeah, I haven't I haven't seen their stuff in a little bit, but yeah.
And I say that I don't watch. I used to watch a lot of streamed games just because it's cool. It's on YouTube, and I don't now. So, but I have been watching that, and I've really enjoyed it.
I don't watch them. I'm just kind of prejudiced about it. I always feel, and especially Critical Role. Those guys are the ones that I loathe for this. I don't feel like they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. They are pretending to play Dungeons and Dragons while they're acting to the camera. I have no interest in watching that whatsoever. But if there's somebody out there that's, like just the cameras at the table and everybody's playing Dungeons and Dragons, especially with a system that I haven't played much of, like Shadow Dark, I'll watch that because, okay, this is cool, and I'm learning how to play the game that way. I'd be fine with that.
Well, and that's my issue with Critical Role is the production. The whole
it's overdone.
It's a show and it's produced and that's like an issue
for me.
For me. And I think some of it. Get going on this stuff now, but I think some of it it sheds like D&D, not in a bad light necessarily, but in a light where people think that, oh my God, like if I want to play D&D, I need to have all these character voices, I need to have all these miniatures, I need to have all this lighting, I need to have all this tabletop stuff, the terrain and like everything else. And I've been big, and obviously like at my table, like I've been using more and more minis and stuff, especially that I've got the 3D printer now. But like, and Jason will attest to this. Like I run like theater of the mind, like 90% of the time, and I mean, I draw a battle mat out like as a secondary thing for me because my players need it, and I get it. I get it. Absolutely. you know, and
But that's the thing too, is I'm the same way. Like, I mean, obviously I use a
Yeah.
lot of miniatures and terrain. I don't mind theater of the mind either. And there's times I use that because it's easier. Like, it's easier than me trying to figure out how I'm going to build some crazy table or whatever.
right.
And like, I don't do that. I mean, most of my stuff, like I sent you guys, I think that video or whatever of
Yeah,
the
with
what's currently on the table down
with
there. And
Shelob or
it's an
whatever.
yeah, so it's an extensive build.
Yeah.
That's not every game. Like, I
Yeah.
don't do that every game. Like, ours are usually, if I do something, it's on a 2 foot by 2 foot board that I can put out and then get rid of.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
simple. Every once in a while, I'll bust out and do like a big table because we all enjoy it. I enjoy doing them, but they're a lot of work, and I don't
Sure.
want to do that every time. So
Yeah, and I'll try and do that for like boss battles or
Yeah.
something major like that.
yeah, most of the stuff leading up to this, what they're doing now in my game, has been small boards, just small boards. This is the boss battle. Like, they're going into the boss battle, so they get, 7 foot, 8 foot long board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it's interesting, and I definitely want to talk about that on a different episode about stuff.
Yeah, we should. That'd be
Running
great.
stuff on the table and how we do it and what we use and all that, and talk about terrain and all that stuff. And I think that'd be great. I'd love to get Mike Saxon on.
We
if
should.
he's still there, because I think he'd be great to talk about that.
Yeah,
But
he does some really good stuff.
but yeah.
So
that'd
have
be
we
cool.
run dry of spellcasting?
Have we
reached
maybe.
the end of the file?
We had an issue with sound, my crackly voice. The gods didn't like that because I was trying to merge their people with the lowly wizards, apparently. So Theater of the Mind, game places 85, never played in a game with minis.
Wow.
Wow. What? That's crazy. Well, I heard a rumor that Death Angel is coming up to CNY next year.
He should be.
So, and he's coming up from, I believe, is it Tennessee?
Yeah. And
somebody's been asking questions about running a convention down in Tennessee as well. So, maybe there'll be a new hot OSR con coming up within the next year. In Tennessee, yeah, that'll be fun.
Edgelord, if you're up by Niagara, were you at CNY last year? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, dude. I'm just wondering if you plan on attending, because you're pretty close, assuming that you're still in the chat somewhere.
Oh, I'll put him in the spot. Edgelord, if you weren't there.
Man, Roger's having a rough night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Am I crackly again?
No, you're back. You dropped out.
I saw it. It's disconnected. I don't know what's going on tonight, guys. Usually Jason's the one with internet connection issues.
Yeah.
No and yes. I don't know what questions he's answering. No and yes.
I think no means he did not attend last year, and yes, you are coming this year. Is that correct? Or yes, you're still in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just riffing here, man. I'm just riffing.
We would love to have you. It was an absolute blast. And I'm not just saying that just because you agreed with me earlier. But yes, this year. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Where
LibertyCon. Where's LibertyCon? Tell us. And SmokyCon, is that official or no? Is that I would guess it's not official by the smiley faces.
That's his name of his future con.
Yeah, the Great Smoky Mountains. Why not?
FutureCon. Okay.
I was just in Pigeon Forge in October. It was wonderful.
Yeah, so we should do Edge Lady too. Yeah, fantastic.
Bring the family.
Fantastic. Bring the family. The more the merrier.
Someone's at the front.
Okay. Did you guys hear that?
Everyone heard that. That was his Ring doorbell letting him know that there's an intruder to take his
That was
wood or whatever it
that was
called.
my doorbell, and the wife changed in the holidays. They open up the holiday thing, so it was a turkey gobbling, and then it told me somebody's at my front door, and the thing's right over my shoulder. So, yeah, fun times. But yeah, I think so. We've got a lot of other shows coming up that we want to talk about. We want to talk about stuff on the table. That's definitely an episode idea. I want to see if Mike's available for that. I want to talk about Kickstarters. Kickstarters is fun. My sleeping wife heard that. Kickstarters I think would be a good one that I think people would want to talk about. What do you guys want to hear in the chat? Like, what do you guys want to hear us ramble on about? Yeah. Is there any subjects or anything that you guys want to hear Jason and I disagree on, or because there's a lot. You already told me you were coming up. You already told me that Eric Tenkar convinced you to come up. You already said it, so it doesn't matter what it takes now. You got to. But no, we'd love to have you at Death Angel. But
not yet, man.
Oh my God. So yeah, no, if you like, leave in the comments, guys, or whatever, tell us what you guys want to hear, because obviously we do this all the time. Sometimes it's just the three of us. Usually it's just Jason and I talking on the phone. And we ramble on forever about, so you guys know that because we do it the same thing on stream. But that's what we
do the same thing with my guys.
Yeah.
That I game
and I would love to know what you guys want us to talk about. But I've got nothing else to talk about as far as spellcasting or magic systems or anything like that. So,
man,
unless you guys have anything, yeah. I mean, are we going to call it at 2.5 hours? I mean, we can do that.
Fine with me. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, let us know. LibertyCon is primarily fantasy sci-fi novels con. Okay. Most of the 3 Ravens Publishing, Canon Publishing will be there. Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about how you guys run games, especially online Theater of the Mind. Yeah. And so I think like what I'm talking about is how we run the games at the table. I think that's going to be how, like, we'll incorporate all of that stuff.
Sure.
And except for the online stuff, because who wants to play online? That's terrible. But I don't know. I don't get it.
I know. Yeah.
I don't like it.
It can be done well, and it can be fun. And keep in mind, I live an hour away from you.
No,
so
I understand that.
Somebody online.
No, I get it. And we can talk about that too. We'll talk about that. Favorite sci-fi system. That is in my list, is to talk about sci-fi games. There are a ton of sci-fi games out there. I think that's going to be amazing.
That's a good answer there, Shellback.
Yeah, Shellback's great. Conversation over.
Games. Oh God.
I'm a huge fan of Shadowrun, 1st and 2nd edition. 3rd edition kind of sucked. But we'll save that for the sci-fi.
Yeah, we'll save that for the sci-fi thing when we can disagree on better systems. But at
FlagCon that we went to last week, the only part of that con that I liked was there was a guy that had used books, and I found the West End Games The Planet book that I got.
Oh, nice.
It was not cheap, but I got it for a pretty good deal. And man, as soon as I got home, I was like, oh, I finally have it. Man, I was super excited to find that.
I got a whole box full of Star Wars D6 stuff.
Yep.
I love that game.
Mine's growing. Yeah, I love it.
What's the spellcasting like in that system?
Don't make
a lot
me
of D6s,
dude.
Jedi.
Okay, so everybody, thanks for coming. We will see you guys in 1 week on the 18th, if math serves me, at 6 p.m. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, not in front of you guys. We'll ping some ideas back and forth, and they'll probably tell me I'm wrong, but that's okay. So thanks everybody for coming. It was great to have you guys, and we will see you guys soon.
See you around.
Take care, everybody.
See you guys.